fourth them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Well, the temperature may well be dropping outside, but it's definitely heating up to boiling point as we ready ourselves for another thrilling evening of racing. There's just 4 races left to go as we ready ourselves to find out which drivers will be taking home the top prizes in what I'm sure will be a 15 out of 10 box office season finale in a week's time. It's time for the UK Formula 4 1600s and British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It's myself, Liz McGlade, Cameron Roger alongside as we head international. Cam is over into the dunes of Zandvoort.
Yeah, for the second time we go here to Zandvoort. It's going to be a whole load of fun, completely different really style of circuit to what we've seen over the course of the season. The British tracks, they're tight, they're twisty, sort of club level circuits. This is a proper Grand Prix venue, big, wide open. It's going to be a lot different to what we've seen before.
Yeah, and of course, we raced there for the first time last year. That was in round 2 of the 2024 campaign. Now racing here in the penultimate race of the season. Here's a reminder as to how things go if you haven't joined us so far this season. This is for the UK Formula 4 1600, which is our, of course, support series this evening. We're starting with the lone qualifying session. 4 laps around here with a 10-minute session before a 15-minute race. A 15-minute second race a bit later on in the evening, where, of course, we'll have that reverse grid race. It's been a championship that thus far has been dominated by Crofton Woodhatch. He's won, taken a couple of double wins over the course of the season. Maybe started out not so strong, especially at Thruxton and Snetterton earlier in the season. Donington Park, of course, opening us. Alton Park and then Silverstone. We're in that final 3-round stretch. We just did not get. We've been north of the border in Scotland. We're here in Zandvoort, as far south as we can go in this championship, before returning to West Kingstown in Kent in just a week's time before we go racing at Brands Hatch. This is what they're fighting for. The top 2 drivers in the championship, of course, will be fighting for a fully funded entry in the 2026 British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Of course, they'll be joining basically as academy drivers and such, which would be amazing to see. Of course, the winning driver also getting the Horsey Ultimate Plus 3-pedal set. Second driver getting the Sprint 3-pedal set. And, of course, third place driver getting the Sprint 2-pedal set. The top 3 drivers also receiving a named trophy. The fight for second in the championship is extremely tight. The championship lead seems a little bit more distant. Crofton Woodhatch taking control of the 2025 title race. 321 points to his name. This accounts for 2 full rounds of drop scores, which for him actually includes 2 podiums as well, which shows how consistent he's been this season. 321 points to his name. Shaden Sherwood on 275, Hayden Bramley on 257. Locked on 237 points is Sam Sanders and Matt Kendall. Sam Sanders having a not so great round north of the border. Timo Miller-Kangas also having a not great round. I think getting 2 retirements as well. 228 points to his name. Dylan McClemens, though, who was victorious just a week ago in the reverse grid race. Charlie Summers as well. All of those really in contention for second and third in the championship, that title race, though Crofton Woodhatch is very much in control here, Cam.
He certainly is. What a lead that is. And remember, with the way the drop score works, even if he gets a 0-0, he's then going to gain those 2 rounds that he lost at Snetterton and Thruxton. That include a podium. So he's actually going to gain points, not lose. So therefore, even if one of these drivers comes out and wins all 4 of the final remaining races, 2 tonight at Zandvoort, 2 at Brands Hatch next week, then it's still a big ask to try and overcome that margin. So this is why Crofton Woodhatch, with those 5 wins in a row, the couple of podiums as well they got early in the season, that's why all that work is so crucial in a season like this, because when we get to this stage and the drop scores start coming into it, it's putting him in such good position.
Yeah, at the moment, I have been building a bit of a spreadsheet for this. Classic. There's Crofton Woodhatch's car. Crofton did actually message me. I think it might be yesterday, maybe the day before, being like, so how do I win this championship? And I think I've worked out I have to score this many points. And I was like, hold on a second. And I started like looking at it. I'm like, I don't even know where to begin, mate. This is so complicated. But basically, just score some decent points and we should be good to go. At the moment, the points that he would be dropping would be 42 points, which is his lowest point score from a single round, and 46 points, his second lowest. Those two alone are higher than pretty much everyone else's average rounds. That's how good he's been this season when it comes to point scores. I think the other lowest point scores that are being dropped, 42 points for Matt Kendall. That's his second drop score. Hayden Brownlee has 40 points. Jaden Sherwood has 41 points. Those are all their second drop scores. Basically, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's incredibly complicated. But hopefully the spreadsheet will do the work, even though I'm not confident in it.
Yeah, all it really means is even if Woodhatch doesn't score any points at the end of the season, he's going to gain 88 points back onto his total, which means someone would have to outscore him by 88 points and then the difference as well at the moment. So he's got a very good chance of this, as we know, as we go into the qualifying session. And to be honest, as you say, as long as he gets any sort of half decent score today, as long as he's not, towards the back, he's basically wrapped up the championship.
I think it would definitely help would be yet another pole position for him. So far this season, his average starting position, Cam, 1.5. He has qualified first, fourth, first. Can he do it again? Can he grab another pole position? He's had 5 poles so far in 2025. The chances of him grabbing another one pretty, I wouldn't say necessarily high, but yeah, potentially.
I think they're looking pretty good. And even, it's one of those things, even if he's not going to be on pole, surely he's going to be inside like the top 3. Yeah. You would expect. We've had close qualifyings, where it's been a few hundreds here and there. And, if he maybe makes the tiniest mistake on the lap, maybe someone will pip him. But he's obviously going to be up towards the front. There's Isaac Gay there in the number 46, but in a white car, not in the regular yellow that you may expect for that number. But he's had an interesting season. He's been... had a couple of flurries of some good results, but unfortunately not showing anything in the way that he would have wanted. He's only had one top 5, which is is only his second top 10 as well. So he had a P5 and a P10. They're the only top 10s he's had all season.
Certainly so, and into the final sector, obviously getting the final bits of tyre temperature into the car. Of course, they do get 4 laps around here, unlike the other time we went to a Grand Prix circuit, we went to Silverstone Grand Prix. They should get the entirety of their allotment of those laps. Now, Cam, you were the one that wanted to joke about all the boxes around here, so I think it's only right that you take us for a little trip around this Zandvoort circuit.
Absolutely. Hayden Brownlee on board, the number 26, going down into Tarzanbock, the first corner here. Got a bit of banking, so you can actually make some moves around the outside if you're brave enough. But a very fast corner in these cars. Actually don't have to slow down too much. We work our way up to the little kink here, though it isn't turning into a little bit of a corner, but don't take too much speed. You've got to keep it to the right-hand side before we work our way through the proper banking here. Up high there through turn 3, and this is where you get the run up the hill. Obviously completely flat out in these cars. Just a couple of little kinks. Keep the cars straight as possible, but you do want to straight line this as much as you can to obviously get the run, get the speed up into a Skyvlac. This is an incredibly fast corner. Keep it down to the inside. Don't run out too wide early. Got to keep it to the left-hand side here as you work your way through Masters. A load of curbs here on the entry, on the exit. Got to be careful not to chunk them, otherwise you will be going off in towards the grass. And here we go into turn 9 and 10. So 2 hairpins, first to the right, then to the left. You can dive it up the inside here. It's really wide through this infield section of track, but it is an important corner because it comes onto the back straight, even though it's definitely not straight. It kinks all the way left as you work your way in towards the stadium section, and this is another good overtaking opportunity. But once again, big curbs on the entry there, and on the exit you'll see drivers going all over the gravel. There's already gravel being put onto the apex, and already basically up to what is the final corner. You've got the kink here at Akumo, then in towards Ari Lyndike, the fairly new corner now. About 5 years ago they put the big banking here, so easily flat out once again. It's all about momentum. It's sort of medium speed. There's a couple of slow speed corners, but there's no real big hairpins. Got to keep that momentum going as it's sort of a bit of a stop-to-starty kind of track. As there's Hayden Brownlee on a 43.5, setting the first time of the day. Let's see where that puts him.
Practice times were leaning to lower 43. Sam Sanders topped the practice on a 43.055. Hayden Bramley did a 43.201, 255 for Miller Kangas. So the 405 we do expect to be beaten. But of course, you got to get yourself up into the operating window temperature-wise and such. So still plenty of time for these drivers to get themselves back into the operating window of the tyre. There's Crofton Woodhatch. He was a little bit further down the order, 5th in practice, setting a 2.62. It was actually really close. There was 6 drivers, I think, that set a 2. We had Bramley, Miller Kangas, Sherwood, Woodhatch, Decker, and Kendall all setting 0.2s around here, which is obviously quite close. With them setting 43.5s, they can't dilly-dally too much this qualifying session, can they? They've got 10 minutes, but that includes their outlap, and then they only get 4 time laps. They can't mess around too much, and does mean we shouldn't have what we had at Knock Hill, where effectively we were sat around twiddling our fingers for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely a little bit longer on the lap time, or basically double the length in terms of lap time. And yeah, in terms of the circuit, I was mentioning just then, it is not really a slow speed circuit. It's all medium to high speed, all these corners in this car. So that basically you know, trends itself to being a very close qualifying session, because in the fast corners you don't actually lose that much time from the fastest to the slowest driver. It's in the slower, tight, twisty tracks where it's stop, start, in and out, spending a lot of time on the brake, have to get hard on the acceleration. That is where the better drivers make their time. But on a faster track, if everyone goes into a corner in 5th gear, if you're 1 or 2 miles an hour here or there, it doesn't really make much difference. So it's going to be a tight qualifying session once again. I would assume half a second off for Woodhatch in that first lap. Is now almost 8/10 off Bramley. This comes around the final corner and he's to start improving. His Miller Kangas goes up to 2nd.
Yeah, Bramley improved to a 2.90. Like you say, Miller Kangas into 2nd position. Crofton Woodhatch up towards the line, 43.223, enough to grab away and snatch away provisional pole position. We do suspect there might be a little bit more time out there around the Zandvoort circuit. Rebecca Morell now the next one to come round. Isaac Gade goes up into 8th position within a second of the pole time, but we do expect this race might be a bit more of a pack race. Distinctly remember that last year, that it had a bit of a drag race down towards the line at the end of the race, as we had in British Formula 4 Esports as well. And of course, if you watch the F4 Esports Global Championship a little bit earlier on this year, by earlier on this year I mean a few weeks ago, literally, the opening round for that was around here as well. It is a circuit that provides some very good racing in these kinds of cars, these and of course the British F4 cars we've got coming up a little bit later on this evening. Here's Miller Kangas.
Yeah, the slower cars work here because the straights are actually straight, and the cars actually have some space around them in the slower speed stuff. So definitely have a lot of room out there to make some overtakes. And there's 3 real long flat out sections of this track. This is the 3rd and final one coming down in towards the stadium section. Miller Kangas, he got a double P2 back at Silverstone 2 rounds ago, and then last round at Knock Hill did a double DNF. So he's had an up and down season. He's shown signs of brilliance. He's had a few crashes, a few penalties. Unfortunately coming his way, he uses all of the available track to go wide and high to try and start another lap. Definitely not the shortest front into line, I think, trying to open up this next run. Is it going to be anything you know, comparative on this lap? No, that is going to be a slower lap with a 0.9. So all that was a build-up for what potentially might be his final lap.
A fan of this circuit? Yeah or nay?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, overall, I would say yes. It's definitely not the best circuit out there. Sorry, Dutchies. But
consider yourself judged.
It has some good flow to it. And as we say, in these slower speed cars, it definitely works.
I'm all right with it. I've been here twice, I think. Both times the weather has been horrendous. It obviously gets extremely windy around here. And then racing-wise, raced here a few times. I distinctly remember being punted from the race lead when we were racing in a championship with G1 Gam, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, yes. Matt Clip. Don't worry about it. I don't hold any grudges. It's fine. See if Hayden Bramley can see if Hayden Bramley can improve at the moment. This will be, I believe, Hayden Bramley's last time in this qualifying session. Set at 43.5, 43.2 and 43.6. See if there is any more time here on the final lap. Looking to try and improve and steal away pole position once more off the clutches of Crofton Woodhatch.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough time to complete the next lap, even if he starts it. So this will be the final opportunity for the number 26, 3rd place in the championship. He's been up towards the front for most of it, to be honest. But let's see what he's going to do. Final lap time out onto the gravel. Doesn't seem to lose that much time because all of the drivers are doing that. And up towards the line, what is he going to do? Second place currently. He needs 66 thousandths of a second to make some sort of an improvement. It's going to need to be a low 2, and it's a 2.6, but not enough. Second place it will be.
Chops the pole position margin down by a fair way, down to 3 or 400ths of a second. Charlie Summers improves, Mark Winter improves, Matt Kendall across the line, third position in his qualifying session at the moment. That's a 7.08, no improvement. Jaden Sherwood only 7th, struggles in qualifying. We've mentioned that a few times this season, that Jaden Sherwood has struggled in the qualifying session, but one of the best racers on the grid. Isaac Gade up towards the line, improves on lap time, but not on position, remains in 11th as the time is ticking down to 0. I'm not sure if there's much more left to come here, Cam.
No, this seems like this is all the main final laps that have come in. For instance, like Bramley here doesn't have enough time, and only he and Jonathan Smith are out on the circuit. We didn't have Paige Dovenbauer, Decker, Lynn, or Sanders out there. Decker, Lynn, Sanders, they have exclusion penalties. They'll be starting from the back anyway. I believe Dovenbauer just didn't set a time because I don't see a penalty to her name. But either way, we're starting from that will be 13th place. The rest of them with penalties.
Indeed. Like you say, we are seeing Hayden Bramley drive around, but that time was never going to count. Doesn't actually count anyway. He's already completed his 4-lap allotment. It does mean, for the 6th time this season, Crofton Woodhatch will be starting from the lead position of the field and pole position once again. Can he race his way to a victory and race his way to a title? Crofton Woodhatch from pole position, Hayden Bramley alongside in the front row, Matt Kendall, Teemu Miller-Kangas on row number 2, with Dylan McClements a winner just a week ago. Jonathan Smith in 6th position will be starting alongside. Jaden Sherwood from 7th position, watch him to make some fireworks moving forward. Charlie Summers from 8th, Brandon Loudon and Mark Winter alongside on row number 5 with Isaac Gade and Rebecca Morell. Within 1 second of pole were the last lap times that were set. Wang Shilin, Jeffrey Decker, Sam Sanders and Paige Dovenbauer. The 6-car grid still got about 80 seconds before they race their way down into Tarzan in that opening corner. Tricky opening turn, quite a good one for overtaking, and I do suspect we're going to see plenty of side-by-side into it on that race down into the opening turn.
Definitely. It's so wide, it's so open, it just invites you to have a bit of a send either up the inside or around the outside if you're feeling brave enough. So there definitely will be some things going on there. I think it's going to be hard for Woodhatch to hold on completely, especially with the likes of Bramley, Kendall, Miller-Kangas. They're all his championship rivals as such, and especially Miller-Kangas. I mean, we know how aggressive he can be trying to get up there inside the top 2 potentially on the opening lap. It is going to be a tough fight down there. And when we get into the race, as you're mentioning in the qualifying session, Lewis, it's going to be a bit of a draft fest. It depends on how many packs we get. Is it going to be one long train? Is it going to splinter into groups of 3 and 4? We'll have to find out.
Indeed, they're all basically in position. We've got about 20 odd seconds left to go. Got to ask you, Cam, very quickly, pick a driver out of the hat. Who is winning this opening race of the evening?
Miller-Kangas, let's go for it.
That's fair. That's a good shout. Oh, do you know what? I'm actually going to go Jaden Sherwood. I think I'll double down. I think he might be one of the better racers on the field, and well, see what he can do from 7th position. Plenty of drivers that are able to win this race in position as the penultimate week of racing in the UK Formula Ford 1600s is go, with once again Crofton Woodhatch leading from pole position. Great start from him, able to cover off Hayden Bramley on that race into the opening corner. Bramley switches it back to the outside as they head their way into Tarzan. Rebecca Morell getting aggressive in the background, going side by side with Isaac Gate. Crofton Woodhatch though holding firm at the front of the field, keeping Bramley at bay, keeping Kendall at bay. A look to the inside from Hayden Bramley as they work their way into the second corner. Now to Hugenholz, and again it's Crofton Woodhatch with the lead, but he's got a bit aggressive there and could get slipstreamed and could potentially be overtaken on the run down into Sky Black.
And there's also Matt Kendall making the outside line move in the background, but for the lead, Bramley goes to the outside. This is not the line that he wants to have, so Woodhatch will have the inside line, surely the dominant position, but no, Bramley's risking it around the outside for the race lead. He's taking on the championship lead, and this is what he needs to do as he sits 3rd place in the championship all the way through Masters. They continue to be side by side.
whether Hayden Bramley is still having aspirations of the title race, or whether even he's accepted that Crofton Woodhatch might be a little bit too far down the road unless there's retirement. One thing he is focused on is being second in the championship, is fighting over some of our prizes, fighting over that free entry into the 2026 British Formula 4 Esports Championship. And he's working his way up into the race lead. We're right on board with Matt Kendall now, who's also in that fight for second in the title race as he tries to battle it out with the points leader. But Crofton Woodhatch is going to hold firm as they get onto the brakes.
And Kendall's looking racy. Milikangas going backwards. Oh, he's hit the wall. Milikangas has made contact with the wall on the outside line. Is that car going to be damaged? McClements is going to go through with Sherwood and Smith. And from 4th position, he's now down to 7th. Kendall already made a good move on him on the outside at the beginning of the lap. And now Milikangas is going to be struggling.
Really important just to pick straight up with the slipstream and not waste too much time trying to figure your life out at the moment as defensive line comes in from Hayden Bramley. Look to the outside coming in from the number 22. Crofton Woodhatch going to go and send it a little bit as they work their way into Tarzan. Obviously that one's not going to work. Side by side in the background between Timi Milikangas, who might have some damage after that, and Charlie Summers as well, who's battling to work his way through. Milikangas holding firm. They work their way through turn 2 now, and of course into Hugenholtz. Dive straight down to the inside from Milikangas. Charlie Summers might have the speed coming off the corner, dragging along Brandon Loudon as well, of course, working with that VR. And it is one 16-car pack here with 12.5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, that dive to the inside Hugenholtz is good on the entry, but you just lose all the momentum up the hill. So you think you made the move stuck, but then the person on the outside just gets the drive and basically just pulls away from you. So it's not really the place he wanted to do. Oh, we've had the first issue really of the race. Is Mark Winter losing a couple of places at the back. It seems like he's been okay. Doesn't seem to be too bad, but he's lost quite a bit of time. He's way off the back.
Speaking of going a little bit off the back, Jonathan Smith may be dropping off a touch in the rear end of Jaden Sherwood after all the battling behind. Timi Milikangas, of course, will be desperate to find his way back through and into 6th position, but by the time he comes through, maybe the gap might be too large. There's Milikangas making the move and up in the 6th position. We're riding on board there with Dylan McClements, one part of this 5-car train for the race lead that sees Bramley, Woodhatch, Kendall, McClements and Sherwood lead around the field at present. That's Timi Milikangas with Jonathan Smith at bay, but the gap, importantly, is over 1.5 seconds. There is no slipstream games being added here to Timi Milikangas, and the more that this group fights, we ride on board with Jonathan Smith, the more that gap is going to grow. But Jonathan Smith can't exactly lift and stay behind Milikangas because obviously he'll just get passed as well by Charlie Summers. Woodhatch as well, back for the race lead to the inside going into Tarzan. It is Woodhatch back to the front.
This will not be the only time this race, and the lead changes as Bramley gets a hip check. He goes out wide. We're going to see Kendall come through. Also McClements, Sherwood as well. There's 4 places lost for Bramley. Thought he was looking at the lead coming into turn 1, but now he's down into 5th position. The top 5 have broken away as Summers and Sanders cannot hold on with Rebecca Morel, and also Lynn, who's had a great start up in towards P9. But these top 5, they're fighting hard, and let's see what happened a little bit further back. Oh, that was a huge 3-car pile up into turn 1.
Yeah, and that was what sent Milikangas down the road. So we've got Charlie Summers in the red and white car ahead of all of this. Jonathan Smith in that blue car, and of course, being involved in the middle of all of that was Brandon Loudon, who now finds himself down in 16th. So a little awkward. Timi Milikangas was on the outside there and paid a hefty price. Down the field he goes into 13th position. Unlucky for some, and certainly unlucky for Milikangas on this day, who did not have a good round north of the border when we were going to race at Scotland, and doesn't seem as though he's feeling particularly good on the luck side when we go racing outside of England once again.
Yes, maybe not, although those drivers, they were really pushing the limits and were 3 wide. Coming in towards the first corner, they definitely know how to be aggressive in this series, that is for sure. As we get inside 10 minutes to go in the race, Woodhatch leads from Kendall. McClements as well, 2-time winner this season, by the way, in that green machine, mostly in the reverse race, but now he's trying to do it in the sprint. As Kendall goes to the outside, McClements to the inside. He's trying to make a double move here for the lead up the inside. Woodhatch could be going down to 3rd place, but no, not late enough on the brakes from McClements, so he's going to have to hold that one up to turn 2.
Great look there from Dylan McClements, who, like you say, does better in the reverse grid races statistically, but we know he's got the speed to grab a little bit more from these opening races. We even saw that back in the opening round of the season at Donington Park, where there was some good speed coming out of the 88, but a little bit of bad fortune late on, and unfortunately dropped down the field, maybe knocked a little bit of confidence, struggled a little bit here and there, but definitely has the speed to be a worthy contender in this 5-car battle for the race lead that sees the points leader once again head to the front, searching for yet another victory in 2025. Couple of good races here for the number 22 for Crofton Woodhatch, and the title would surely be secured. We ride on board now with Matt Kendall in 3rd position. We can see Dylan McClements in that distinctive green and orange car. We know the mirrors are being filled by Jaden Sherwood and Hayden Bramley. And in fact, there is Sherwood making the move from 9th all the way up to 3rd.
Yeah, you said it in the pre-show. Sherwood is a very, very good racer. Not always the best qualifying speed, but in the race, just one by one, he picks them off, and there he goes up onto the podium in that number 2 machine and trying to work his way forward in this championship, which he did lead after the first couple of rounds. The top 2 have got a slight breakaway by a couple of car lengths, so they need to be careful with the battling in that, not to let them get away now that Kendall is dropping off the back. But I'm definitely going to see McClemens diving up the inside here into turn 1.
Indeed. There is definitely going to be an attempt coming in from Dylan McClements. There's a look to the inside as you were predicting. And there is McClements working his way through. Crofton Woodhatch will have to settle at the moment for 2nd position. Do remember it's 45 points for the race victory. Now, technically speaking, Crofton Woodhatch would actually be removing his lowest, basically, this would be his 2nd lowest point score already, because it was his 45 point. But then he only has to score a few points in the next race for that to basically be negated, and he's actually scoring some points, because you have to score more than obviously your drop scores. Very complicated and very confusing, but still he's doing a great job at the moment as side by side around this back end of the circuit as they go through the S's and up towards Sky Black. Little bit racy between the pair of them, with Dylan McClements remaining down the inside, fighting hard as we ride on board with Jaden Sherwood. Wasn't expecting too much side by side between this group. You think once they're done with the start-finish straight, they return to single file action. That is not the case, but it is Crofton Woodhatch back to the front of the field. Maybe a little bit aggressive in all of that, Cam, and maybe taking a little bit too much risk in these early stages of this race. We still have 7 minutes left.
It's going to not be in this order for all of those 7 minutes, I can tell you. You're going to swap around quite a few times, and it's very interesting when you see it in the race like this, actually. So 8/10 cover these 5 drivers, and in qualifying, basically everyone was covered by 8/10. So this 5 car lengths, because, you know, the nose tail, this 5 car lengths is everyone in the qualifying session. That is how close the qualifying sessions are. Incredible to witness that on the track in this series. But let's go down the start-finish straight once again. McClements thought he had the lead last time around. Woodhatch was able to take it back, but now Sherwood is on his case. After those 2 battling, they've closed up the gaps in behind. Once again, McClements in the green machine is going to the inside. He's going to have the lead a lot earlier than he did last time around. Sherwood's going to try and follow him through. He's going to try a double move in towards Tarzan. Not quite enough there. He might not even get 2nd place in the end, because Woodhatch is very strong around the outside.
But here we go. Sherwood has worked his way through. We'll have the inside line to turn 2, but of course the outside line by the time we head into the 3rd corner at Hugenholtz, which should carry the momentum for the number 2 car. And we could see the 22 of Crofton Woodhatch dropping back behind Jaden Sherwood and Hayden Bramley. There's the speed of the corner. Matt Kendall also might be dragged through, picking up the slipstream of the number 26 car of Hayden Bramley, but can't quite find his way through. Crofton Woodhatch then settles for 4th position. 5.5 minutes left to go in this race. It's Dylan McClements leading from Jaden Sherwood, Bramley, Woodhatch and Kendall, the 5 cars for the race lead. Sam Sand's been able to work his way up into 6th position. There's a big look to the inside from Hayden Bramley, super aggressive into Masters. And now as we go into turn 9, a big look to the inside coming in from Crofton Woodhatch into the CM.com corner, of course. Terrible name for a corner, but still, we'll call it turn 10, shall we? Again, brutal, the looks that are coming in.
This is incredible racing from these drivers. These top 5 are putting on a show. I think all 5 drivers have been in each position here in the top 5. That is incredible. Apart from maybe Woodhatch not getting quite to 5th. But Kendall is going to quite change that around. McClements leads from Bramley, and the 3 behind are actually kind of closing up. So it could be, what's that going to be, an 8-car battle towards the end of this race if these top 5 keep on battling. Less than 5 minutes to go. McClements leads from Bramley, from Sherwood. We've got Woodhatch, we've got Kendall all involved. Any moves this time around, they're a little bit more spread out, to be honest, but Bramley's looking racy. He's thinking about going to the outside down towards turn number 1, and actually swaps to the inside. He's on a huge send to the right hand side, goes all the way to the pit wall, and it might work because McClements around the outside is just going to be squeezed out there. What a move from Bramley.
The only person who didn't really want any part of this fighting was the driver in 5th position with Matt Kendall. Still the side-by-side remains the race lead, but now Hayden Bramley has found his way through. Fantastic racing between this group of 5 as we ride on board with Jaden Sherwood staring right into the rear end, into the exhaust, into the gearbox of Dylan McClements' car. There's 3 laps left to go, 2.5 if you want to be pedantic about it. The cut across the inside as we head up towards Sky Black coming in from Hayden Bramley there, and the train of 5 remain in under 3/4 of a second as we head through Sky Black and now into Masters. The flick to the right-hand side onto the brakes. You're right, Sam Sanders, Summers and Morel do technically have a chance of this, but I do think it is unlikely. You need some heavy battling up ahead. We are getting it. I'm just not sure we're getting enough of it.
Yeah, that's true. If the race was a few minutes longer, maybe it'll be an 8-car battle, but 5 is plenty in this championship. Let's see how this one ends. We still have about 3 laps to go, so it's maybe just quite 2 actually. So still a few opportunities for moves down in towards turn number 1. Bramley's leading from McClements, but that was the opposite last time around, and to be honest, I don't see why any driver would back out of a position. It seems like you can swap fairly easily, so there's no reason to sit behind. You might as well just go and send up the inside. Witch Hatch right on the back of Sherwood has to pull out of that for a minute, and he's going to get back in the slipstream down to turn 1.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the differing lines. See, Matt Kendall doesn't want any part of it. He sat there thinking, look, 5th position's great. I'm going to let you all fight because you're definitely not reaching to the checkered flag like this. As there is side-by-side behind with Summers and, of course, Sanders. There's a look to the inside. Obviously, Hayden Bramley defending from McClements. Jaden Sherwood going for the up and under in the number 2, the blue and pink car there that's closest to the camera as they work their way to turn 2. Amazingly, and all that, no switches. Penultimate lap of the race. No switches on that run to turn 1. Get the feeling that once we visit there at the start of the next lap, i.e. the last lap of this race, then things might kick off and we're going to get some serious fireworks in this group if we haven't had any already.
The order coming through Ari Leindyke this time around is very important because it'll be the final time into turn 1, which seems to be the best overtaking opportunity. So on the final lap, the start-finish line will come too soon, potentially. You might get the run to line, but you never know. You don't have the braking zone. So do you want to be in first? Do you want to be in second coming onto the final lap? Brownlee decides he wants to lead this, and he's actually pulling away by car length from McClements. So this is a very important time to work out where you want to position yourself, almost like an oval race coming onto the final lap. And it looks like Woodhatch isn't doing too much to challenge up to the front. He doesn't need a podium, but of course he wants it.
Of course, it was a year ago. Conditions were different. Big slide coming in from Jaden Sherwood there. But yeah, conditions different. I'm sure wind, etc. All very different. Wasn't there a drag race to the line in last year's race around here? And I'm pretty sure that was between Mark Fletcher, the eventual the driver who went on to the champion. It was Mark Fletcher, and I think it might have been Shoma Shintani, the two that were battling for the title. Do they not have a drag race up to the line around here, or am I going a little bit doolally? Basically, I'm saying there might be a chance. You never know. Here we go then. Final lap of the race. We've got a minute left to go. And this is it. We are activating the white flag. We are activating the final lap of the race. Dylan McClements is looking to the outside. Big lock-up coming in. Crofton Woodhatch also trying to get a move done on Jaden Sherwood. The top 2 in the title race go into battle into turn 1. And with a switch to the inside, Jaden Sherwood is now attacking Dylan McClements, firing through at turn 2. The outside as they go into Hugenholz, and Dylan McClements is going to try and move up and cover off the position.
And all this does is open up a gap to Hayden Bramley. Half a second. They've got a couple of straights to try and get this one back, but Sherwood's got to be careful. Does he want to lock himself into a battle for second, or they still want to have half an opportunity to get the win? They're already closing up a little bit towards Bramley, but Bramley's been so strong in the final 5 minutes of this race. He went from 4th to 1st and is now leading comfortably. Big send down the inside from Sherwood. He backs out of that one, but he opens up the door.
Yeah, that was a big look from Sherwood, once again having the look. Dylan and McClements then fends him off, so second position remains in the hands of the Irishman, and Crofton Woodhatch getting squeezed off a little bit. Matt Kendall trying to get to the outside, side by side between 4th and 5th position, and Woodhatch has the inside line as they depart turn 10.
Any final moves down in towards the stadium section. Bramley's looking strong for the lead, but in behind. Any moves? No, they stay in line, and that's the final proper opportunity. It's only the run to the line, but the gaps are too big up ahead.
I think Hayden Bramley has more than enough of a gap at the moment to hang on to the race lead. Any mistake, though, could open it up. The driver who sits third in this championship, in this title race. We've caught up with him a few times on the podium, but only once as a winner. That was back in Thruxton, the drag race to the line. We'll see Hayden Bramley cross it for the second time a winner in 2025. It's Bramley, McClements Sherwood. Woodhatch, for the first time in a race won this season, not on the podium. But I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with 4th place. That should be a pretty comfortable amount of points for him.
With 3 wide almost to the line with Sanders, Summers and Morell. We got 4 wide with Millikangas, Dovenbow, Lynn and Gate. And then Smith, Decker, Winter towards the back. And unfortunately, Brandon Loudon, the only DNF of the race after that crashed in turn 1, a couple of laps into it. What a race we had there. That just shows you that what we're going to see for the rest of the evening is going to be amazing, because Woodhatch from pole position, it doesn't matter. You're going to be overtaken around here. You have to have good racecraft. This is going to be a big turning point in some of these people's championships tonight.
Yeah, arguably it is one of the least important pole positions this season, which is hilarious to say. Let's be fair, because of how these cars race, there aren't too many that are ridiculously important. Knock Hill, definitely. I say Donington Park Grand Prix, definitely. Snetterton, Fairley, Alton Park. But Thruxton, Silverstone, Zandvoort, nah, not so much. One thing that is important, though, is the reverse grid pole. That's what we're dealing with now. It's not going to be 10. It's not going to be 5. It's going to be 8. 8 will be the number unless it just ticks over to 9. Oh, it's going to tick over to 9. Whoa, okay. Second largest potential reverse grid. They'll love hearing that when we jag them in for the interviews in just a few moments' time. 9 is the number that Hayden Bramley will have to work his way through if he wants to take a double victory this round. It's Bramley from McClements and Sherwood. The top 3 will be catching up within a moment. Woodhatch and Kendall within a second of race victory. All extremely close. Jaden Sherwood and all that grabbing the bonus point as well for the fastest lap. Then in 6th position, it's Sam Sanders, Charlie Summers in 7th, Rebecca Morell in 8th, Timo Miller-Kangas and Paige Dovenbow will be the top 10. Behind that is Wan Shi Lin, then Isaac Gade, Jonathan Smith, Jeffrey Decker, Mark Winter, and as you quite rightly pointed out, Cam, the lone retirement of the race is Brandon Loudon. So, a lot of positives to talk about in that race. I'm sure some negatives as well. None so, though, for our race winner, a perfect drive from Hayden Bramley, who now joins us in the commentary booth. A winner again. Obviously, it's been a while between the top step of the podium for you. Back in Thruxton was your first victory. You had a whole host of podiums since. What's this victory like, especially here on what is such a difficult circuit for the drivers?
Yeah, I'm happy I can get another one in. No, I didn't want to leave the series without getting another one. Coming in, I thought I'd be get one every other week, but yeah, happy to get one. Happy to so especially commemorate my granddad as well. Use the livery to get the win as well.
Yeah, like I said, we've seen you on the podium a lot. You've put on some amazing drives, especially with the livery on as well. I know, obviously, you've had some tough times this season, but you're really not showing that on track, if you know what I mean. Like you've come into it and you're showing all the pace that we've seen all the way throughout the season. I'm sure that's tremendously difficult, but when it comes to race 2s, you're quite good at working your way through the field and picking up a solid few results. Was it at Silverstone? You went from, 15th all the way up onto the podium, something like that? You've certainly got the speed and ability. Now, the reverse grid here is 9, but this is a circuit which you can work your way through, so sure, that's not too bad.
No, I mean, has there been any law number reverse grids yet?
Oh, no, they're all fake. They don't actually exist. We only have like 8, 9, and 10s.
Yeah. I'm not too bad about it. I mean, it was fine at Knock Hill, and that's a track that's about half the size and half the width. So I'm not too worried about here. I'm sure the guys in front of us will work with me as well.
Yeah, obviously it was a bit of a 5-car breakaway in there. Obviously, these are all your rivals for first and second in the championship. Are there any conversations between you lot, between races, where maybe friends have been built, maybe you're kind of working together a little bit on the track to make sure that you're kind of any sort of weird partnerships?
I did have one with Crofton after race round 2, I think, just saying gonna just leave it until the final few laps because we're losing quite a bit of time. But other than that, it's basically been a free-for-all.
And that's the way we like it. Good luck in race 2, and hopefully the free-for-all isn't complete carnage and it's nice and clean for you.
Hopefully. Thank you.
There we go. Hayden Bramley, our race winner. Second in the race, it will be Dylan McClements. Back-to-back podiums for Dylan. Great drive as well to second position. Really embroidered the fight. Couldn't quite steal it away from Hayden Bramley. What do you make of that race, Dylan? Because it was a solid drive up to second.
Yeah, I mean, went in the qualifying, I didn't expect to be in the top 5. The pace wasn't really there in practice, but, you know, happy with qualifying, and then I tried to get my Zoom call up. But, I mean, in terms of the race, I just sent it basically, because I knew around me there was Championship, and they'd maybe be backing off a bit, so I tried to use that to my advantage. And coming up the last lap, I had a defend from Jaden, so then Hayden got away. But, I mean, great race, and hopefully we can keep that in the second race.
Seems like quite a fun track to race around, especially between the 5 of you. Certainly very raceable. Obviously, you've got Tarzan, the opening corner, where you can do some moves. We did see a couple of aggressive runs around the back end of the circuit from yourself, from Hayden. Yeah, obviously, Jaden gave a couple of goes. Is that what it feels like behind the wheel?
Yeah, it's quite a chaotic circuit, to be honest. There's so much opportunities to pass. It's quite tricky to pass. I think in the last lap I locks, and then I got pushed back into Jaden. But I mean, it's easy enough, but hard enough to pass at the same time. There's a lot of opportunities. So hopefully I can use that to the last race, and hopefully it's the first top 9. I can work my way back up to the podium.
Just a couple of race victories for you this season. Chances of a potential third race victory here in the reverse grid race. You'll be starting from 8th place in what is quite a raceable circuit. You seem to have the confidence to be a little bit aggressive, and of course the fight for effectively second in the title race is still very much on for you.
Yeah, I mean, haven't really been at the Championship. I know the first couple of rounds kind of ruined it, but I'm going to try and get the rest of my race. I'm going to go for the win each race. I mean, there's nothing stopping me. There's no pressure on me compared to others, so hopefully I can get up the podium and fight for the race win again.
Got to give it a go. Elbows out. Good luck, Dylan, and we'll chat to you maybe quite soon.
Right, see ya.
There we go. Dylan McClements onto the podium for the 4th time this season. Onto the podium once again. It is Jaden Sherwood from 9th place all the way up to 3rd. Once again, if we sort out those qualifying gremlins, then everything's going to be dandy. But to be fair, again, you show around here you don't really necessarily need it. Straight up battling up for in the race victory group pretty quickly in the race, showing that qualifying maybe isn't so important around this circuit.
No, of course it would have helped to qualify like a bit higher up. It saved me a lot of work at the start of the race, and yeah, maybe I could have won it. But yeah, it was overall quite a good race. I felt like I could have won it. I did miss a couple opportunities, but it's just really hard to overtake with the banking, because the second you send a move on the inside, you just wash out. So it's often people drive around the outside of you.
Yeah, I did see a couple of aggressive looks, even down into Masters, about turn, was it 8 on the circuit, around the back end. A couple of looks there on the last lap. Seems that there's a few overtaking opportunities, but like I said, the outside line seems to reign supreme. But you still were able to work your way from 9th up to 3rd position. Now you'll be starting from 7th, 2 positions better than obviously you started race 1. So the chances of finishing 2 positions better, I mean, surely there's a possibility there.
Of course I'll be going for the win, but yeah, we'll just see what happens. I really enjoy like overtaking and that aspect of racing, so yeah, it should be fun. So yeah.
I mean, you have had a couple of double podiums this season, including obviously when we were racing back in Thruxton, when you had that double podium. I kind of wonder, is there any other circuit on this kind of races similar to what we get here in Zandvoort? Because obviously it seems like it's a lot more slipstreamy. So you've got those Thruxtons, like the Silverstons and stuff, like these circuits, which are obviously Silverstone's very different with wet. A lot of these circuits are very slipstreamy, and is that what you're kind of finding around here, that it does race similar to some of the other circuits, or is it completely unique?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, like every track's unique in its own ways, but it's fairly similar to them fast tracks like Silverstone and Thruxton. And yeah, I think that's why like this track might be why I've done better like other tracks like than Sneston, for example. Just because I think racecraft is probably like one of the things I'm best at. So yeah, definitely tracks with much more slipstream suits me better.
Well, best of luck in the reverse grid race. See if we can keep this title fight going all the way to Brands Hatch. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, thank you.
There we go. Jaden Sherwood onto the podium once again. Cam getting ready for the reverse grid race. You can see all the drivers already taken around to the circuit. Should be a lot of fun, this one. I've put some numbers into the spreadsheet that I absolutely don't trust. But if we had an exact repeat of that race result, then by my numbers, Crofton Woodhatch would be the champion. But I'm not convinced by that at all. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think he's the champion anyway. Mostly by the fact that he had a solid race there. He's probably going to have another solid race again. And I think it's going to be very difficult for someone to overcome that. Just looking at other people's results, I mean, even Brownlee's second place in the championship. Some of the other results, I mean, 2 of his drop rounds included retirements, for instance. So I don't know. He's not going to get many points added on when that happens. So Woodhatch is looking very good. It's difficult to absolutely 100% confirm it, but the short maths is, as long as he has a solid round again, he is going to be basically confirming him, at least with one hand on the trophy. So to be honest, you can't really fault him that much. I mean, today, you know, he started from the pole position, but there's not really much else that he could have done because everyone was trying to come past him, and it's just the way of the track. Maybe it would have actually benefited him not being in pole position.
One thing that would assist us as commentators is
no drop rounds.
Well, for one, no drop rounds would make life a lot easier, which thankfully we don't have in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, coming up a little bit later on this evening in the fantastic fight between Remy Gilbert and Henry Moore, which kind of kicked off a little bit last round at Knockhill. Of course, we'll talk about that a little bit more as the evening goes on, but that title fight looks very interesting, and I'm sure we're going to get some excitement, especially since it's a circuit which Henry Moore's proved himself as a quality driver around in the FIA Esports Global Championship, where things were very interesting. But around here with the points in the UK Formula 4 1600s, like I say, it's a lot of complicated stuff. If any of the championship protagonists want to help us out here, either Crofton Woodhatch, drop it into the fence, and then maybe we'll know that obviously the title race isn't done until next round, or all 3 of the other contenders. If you do it, that'd be cracking as well.
Well, one thing I've looked at with your dodgy numbers, Lewis.
Yeah,
I've 2 points between Brownlee and Sherwood as well for second place.
Basically, the dodgy points that Cam is alluding to would be an exact duplicate of the previous race, which obviously isn't going to happen. But an exact duplicate of that race, you're absolutely right, would give 381 points to Crofton Woodhatch, 347 to Hayden Bramley, and 345 to Jaden Sherwood. And that sounds really close because of drop scores and blah, blah, and Cam trying to convince me about these numbers and drops and other things that I could even possibly imagine. That would actually mean, despite the gap only being 34 points, I think the championship would actually be settled because of how the drop scores all work. It's complicated. I don't know. Help me out, Cam.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to gain the 34 points, taking into consideration, even if they gained 34 points on Woodhatch, Woodhatch would then also himself gain back points from the ones that already dropped compared to the round that would be worse. So basically, more than that.
I hate drop scores.
It's difficult to explain in words. I work with numbers and with, you know, visual, representation of those numbers. Thinking of it just makes it too difficult. But a short story is, it's not just the 34-point gap. It is also the points that Woodhatch would then regain on his total. So that is the important factor. So that's basically why it ends up being more complicated.
Basically, one thing that you have to know, which is why things are really complicated, is that even if Crofton Woodhatch was to retire from both races in the season finale, technically the 0 would then become his drop score, and then he would effectively score 42 points, as that's his lowest drop score. Anyone confused? Yep. I'm confused. Let's just talk about the racing, Cam, because that's the simple bit that we can talk about. Of course, we are racing here at Circuit Zandvoort. We are ready for a reverse grid. 9 cars, more than half of the field, have been zipped around, and we are almost ready to go. I am excited for this one. Cam, before I have to rush my way through the grid. Oh, never mind. I was going to say he's going to win, but I'm going to rush my way through the grid regardless. Team Miller-Can gets from pole position. Rebecca Morrell on the front row. Charlie Summers and Sam Sanders with Matt Kendall and Crofton Woodhatch from 6th position. Can he win the title? Jaden Sherwood from 7th. Dylan McClements in 8th with Hayden Bramley, a race winner, in 9th position. Paige Dovenbaum missing out on the reverse grid by a single position with Wan Shi Lin and Isaac Gate in 12th position. The final few rows sees Smith, Decker, Winter, and of course the lone retirement in Brandon Loudon, which Cam put onto the spreadsheet in big capital letters. Cam, who is winning this race?
Sam Sanders.
Sam Sanders. Whoa, all right, fair play, actually. I respect that. Works both from the back of the field up the order, and why not back that one up with yet another victory? A third one of the season if he's able to do so. Of course, we've got Timo Miller-Kangas has been on the podium 3 times this season, starting with pole position, yet to take a victory and hold it all the way to the steward's office. Let's see if this is the time when maybe that might be the case. Green flag is in the air and we're racing down to the first corner. It is going to be Miller-Kangas leading into that opening turn, holding on from Rebecca Morel. Sam Sanders, Charlie Summers looking to try and find their way through. Summers already up into second position, and now Sam Sanders trying to fill the mirrors of Rebecca Morel as they go into the second corner. Now with a Hugenholtz with Sanders on the outside in the black and gold car, white, grey and black on the inside for Rebecca Morel, who's going to get slowed down on the exit. Here comes through Matt Kendall. Here comes through Crofton Woodhatch as well.
Just proving the absolute dominance of the outside line there through Hugenholtz. You've got to be using that banking. Morel got stuck on the inside and is losing out massively. We're also going to be seeing Sherwood diving it down the inside into Skyback. This is about 5 positions. Oh, a bit of a nudge there actually onto the gravel. McClements is going to go through Bramley as well. And Morel drops all the way down to P9. That's a disastrous start, all from choosing the wrong line in turn 3.
Yeah, big shame, unfortunately, for Rebecca Morel just being kind of out of position, like I say, picking the wrong line early on, and then effectively getting freight trained by the field as they head their way through on the opening lap of this race. It's Miller-Kangas leading from Summers, Sanders, Kendall, Woodhatch, Sherwood, McClements, Bramley, Morel and Lynn the top 10. Winters gained a couple of positions up past Isaac Gade as well. Brandon Lauder remains at the rear end of the field as there's a couple of looks in that background as they work their way into the arena section. Big move there and a big slide coming in from Jaden Sherwood. Good hands and a quick catch.
And off on the back, Brandon Loudon had some issues coming through the chicane as well, so he's dropping down away from the pack. Up towards the front though, Summers in second place, Sanders in third, but he's got the inside line. He's got the slipstream from Miller-Kangas as well, who's trying to make them battle to slow themselves down. And there's going to be Sanders on the inside, Summers to the outside. He might even have the lead here. I'll tell you what, Summers had an awesome run off Harry Leindyke. Around the outside, he's going to go with 2x2. Matt Kendall's joining in, but the inside line seems to hold on strong for Miller-Kangas. But Sanders, he's not giving up for the second place just yet, but he might have to back out of this one, although once again he'll get the
Summers.
outside line. Summers is going to lose a lot of time here on the exit. Sanders all the way around the outside for second place.
And there goes Crofton Woodhatch as well, straight around into third position. Matt Kendall also through. Summers with a very tight line going through the banked hairpin, and of course losing out a whole host of time on the exit of Hugenholtz, and up towards Sky Black they go, and unfortunately for Summers down to 5th, but still embroiled in the fight. That's the important bit. We've got 8 cars for the race lead. We've got Miller-Kangas leading from Sanders, Woodhatch, Kendall, Summers, Sherwood, McClements, Bramley as well. Those are the 8 cars battling. There is a look to the inside from Jaden Sherwood getting aggressive on Charlie Summers. Summers is going to go out wide as they work their way into turn 10. And there is the move once more coming in from Summers. Jaden Sherwood basically just costing the group a little bit of time there. And Hayden Bramley says, all right, I'll come through then.
Taking his opportunities as the 2 podium sitters from the previous race go side by side. Around the outside goes Hayden Bramley. He's strong on the brakes today. He's done that a few times as McClemens' small nudge on the back of Sherwood, but Bramley is looking strong. He's got enough time to work his way forward, and everyone is staying close up ahead, so don't be surprised if Bramley gets a double podium here today. Just needs to play it smart and not get too overly aggressive. He's got a few gaps up ahead as Summers has lost the battle to the top 4, but at the lead, I don't think Miller-Kangas is going to lead soon.
No, I don't believe so. I'm not sure who is going to be leading, though, because we could get a bit of 3 wide here. You've got Sanders on the outside who crossed the line as the race leader. It is Woodhatch that was looking through the middle but backs out of it, allows Miller-Kangas to once again do battle with Sanders for the race lead. There's still loads of time left to go in this race, by the way. We're not even a third of the way through. Look at this on board with our championship leader staring at the top 2. Going to pick the high line here as they work their way through turn 3. Switched it back to the inside. There's one. Now side by side with Sanders, they work their way down towards Sky Black. Look at this as Crofton Woodhatch finding his way back through into the race lead before even the slight dab of the brakes and turn, and he could have the race lead, but Sanders is going to hold firm. To the outside comes Crofton Woodhatch. It's side by side, 2 rows deep. Miller-Kangas and Kendall going side by side behind Sanders and Woodhatch.
And Sanders going to have the inside line for the next couple of corners. Milikanga's pushing him through. Woodhatch is doing a great job on the outside to try and hold on to this. This will be the inside for turn 10 if he can just about do it, and he does. So he's going to have the opportunity to go half a lap side by side with Sam Sanders. Here's Kendall diving up the inside of Milikanga, so that'll be for third position, and he gets the run. He might even have second place. He's got a bit of the draft from Woodhatch on that inside line, which returns to the outside down towards the chicane with 3 wide almost in the background, as Sanders might be losing second place here. He's having to think about it because Kendall's diving up the inside. Kendall is going to get second place. Sanders from the lead, basically, he's going to go down into third place. You cannot stay in the same position for long as we're all bunching up behind, but no, Sanders regains it into the final corner.
And this could be perfect for Croft and Woodhatch on the brink of securing the 2025 title. If the gap grows and he wins, surely that is title confirmed for Croft and Woodhatch. At the moment, he's trying to break the margin. The gap sits around 5 to 6 tenths of a second. It's coming down slightly, but the more they fight behind, the more he can check away into the distance. Back on board with Milikangas, who is going to force the issue down in the first corner. He's going to go deep here, though. Surely is Milikangas. He manages to wrestle that car down into the stopping zone, and Sanders is out wide in the background. It's all kicking off here in the fight for first, for second, for third, and all those behind as well in the top 8. It is getting chaotic.
As the leaders were battling, it's caused everyone to bunch up behind. We're 3 wide still. We've got McClements, Sherwood and Sanders side by side up the hill, and McClements backs out of that one. We're still side by side with Summers who have the inside line. Brownlee's trying to make moves up ahead on Kendall as well for third position. Summers will keep this one that we're focusing on for P5, and Sherwood around the outside up towards Masters. It was the opposite on the final lap of the previous race as McClements holds strong, and Sherwood will have a think about a dive. He's already done it this race, but no, he backs out of it this time, and he will stay there in 7th position. But these drivers, they go for everything, and look at the one long train. The whole pack is in one shot there.
Yeah, with the specific exception of Mark Winter, who's returned to pit lane, I think has retired from the second race this evening. Woodhatch leads by 0.6 of a second. The problem for him is Timi Milikangas is closing in. He has plenty of speed as the Finnish driver and plenty of aggression to go with it, and he's hunting for that victory and is desperate for it. Aidan Bramley also in tow, looking to take yet another one to go back-to-back this evening. Matt Kendall as well, Charlie Summers, McClement, Sherwood. Rebecca Morell also in the tow. Jeffrey Decker and Wan Shi Lin switch for positions down in 11th spot, but the gap for the race lead is just on the cusp.
It certainly is. I think Milikangas is going to be doing enough to hold on, and Bramley is fast enough, we know. Kendall's fast enough, we know. And I've said that the battling in behind is going to make that more difficult. Sherwood was thinking about a 3-wide send once again as we remain side by side. Summers in the red car, McClements in the green. Up through turn 2, almost contact between them. McClements is going to have the outside line, and he cuts him off nicely. That's worked out well, and Summers is going to go backwards here. Sherwood always going to contact from the rear. Was that with Sam Sanders getting involved, or was that just with Summers? Either way, it slowed him down, and that is really not ideal for his momentum up the hill.
Not great indeed. Very easy to do when you're racing in such a pack around here. It's so tricky to keep these margins on board, with Sam Sanders extremely focused behind Jaden Sherwood. Sanders in 8th position, Sherwood in 7th. And of course, the fights for all those up and down the order. Who was it that you picked for the race victory? You picked Sam Sanders. Who did I pick? Did I pick anyone?
You didn't. You back out that when you ask everyone else the question, but you never stick up for one yourself.
Normally, no, I do normally answer. I just got sidetracked or something, I don't know.
Yeah, my guess isn't going very well with Sanders up into second place and then getting hip checked and going all the way down. He has got long enough to regain this. The issue is there are some sort of bigger gaps opening up ahead. We've got 5-car breakaway once more. Summers was battling too much there, and unfortunately he's lost out quite a bit. So I think it really is now down to these 5 cars. But Woodhatch, unlike the previous race, is able to get away just a little bit, and therefore it might be a little bit more difficult. But with the amount of laps left in this race, there is enough time to regain that, as Milikangas is chasing him down with going to be 3 wide in towards turn 1. Summers has on the inside of him, he's got Sherwood and Sanders going for it side by side. That's a 3 wide situation for 6th place. Summers goes through, holds on to it, but that certainly could have been a little bit awkward for a moment.
Yeah, that's like I say, getting a little bit scary and sketchy in all of this. Sanders, we're back on board with. See the gap growing. They're growing even further. It returns to a 5-car train for the race lead once again, as we had in the previous race. The only driver differing from race 1 to race 2 of part of that train is Jaden Sherwood, directly ahead of this, trying to battle to get past Charlie Summers. Looks down the inside of Sky Black, can't quite do it. In fact, pushes his nose into the move, and Charlie Summers has an absolute whopper. Rejoins the circuit just before heading into Masters. That was very aggressive in this train.
And what that's done is completely lost the top 5 now. So Summers has dropped back massively. It wasn't a huge bit of contact, but the reaction of the car was mental. He went out wide and has lost, that's about 6-7 places that he's lost down there in towards P13. Really not ideal. He's going to be difficult to come back from that. As for the lead, Milakangis goes. We're going to see a replay though, just the tiniest bit of initial contact, but was a bit of an overcorrection. That's why it was just the tiniest bit of a nudge, and the flick left of the wheel just sent the red car out off into the gravel. Up towards the front though, Milakangis has got Woodhatch and is closed everyone back up. So Woodhatch thought he got away, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, the only thing you can really say in that is that maybe Jaden Sherwood didn't have enough of an overlap and, you know, whatnot, but they're racing for every little inch here. Here we go, switch for the race lead, Croft and Woodhatch. We're right on board with Hayden Bramley, though. With a switch for the race lead, could Hayden Bramley once again steal one away here? Could he potentially take away the chances of Croft and Woodhatch sealing the title here at Zandvoort and maybe force him to wait another week until we go racing at Brands Hatch? At the moment, things are in position for Woodhatch. We do believe, according to the maths, although again, please do not trust it and wait for all things on social media because it is tough. But alas, at the moment, I think we're in position. But I get the feeling if Hayden Bramley wins, we're not so much.
It's certainly very difficult position for Bramley with Woodhatch here in second place, but Milakangis out of nowhere is, after having a double retirement last time, is once again showing the pace that he's got. Woodhatch is looking strong, and to be honest, I don't think it's going to finish in this order. One thing with Hayden Bramley there on that previous lap, do you see him sort of laughing, shaking his head through turn 1, because they were 3 wide for quite a while there, and he knew there just wasn't the opportunity to risk it. I mean, we saw actually Jonathan Smith go down quite a bit on that previous lap, because I think he was having a big 3-wide battle into turn 1 as well. He's now down P14 after batting around the top 10. That's wide though from Woodhatch, and that's going to open up the door for Bramley to get through. McClements is going to try and push his way, and this is going to allow Milakangis now to get away.
Yeah, Milakangis building that gap to just over half a second. That could get closed down though, with side by side between McClements and Woodhatch. McClements said in the interview after race 1, he's going to get aggressive. He's going to get elbows out. He wants to get after this race victory, believes in the chance of getting after it, and certainly is knocking at the door of back-to-back podiums. Again, Matt Kendall sits on the rear as he did in the previous race. He sat in 5th position in that train, the top train all the way through. He's in 5th position at the moment, scoring some decent and healthy points, but he needs more. He needs to get involved in it. Penultimate lap of this race that sees Milakangis leading from Bramley. Bramley trying to do the double.
Oh, that would be quite something, especially from the reverse grid race starting in P9. But we do know, as we've seen, that you can battle on this track, and he's able to jump himself up into this top pack, because the top 5 breakaway, imagine if he didn't get into that top 5, then he'd be stuck. But now Milakangis, Bramley fighting for the lead. Bramley interestingly to the outside there, trying to get Milakangis offline, not really doing too much in the way of that so far as you work our way up to Masters. But this is a very fast section of track where you can then open up the door to dive down the inside. Woodhatch is getting close. Everyone is keeping it in line. They're waiting for the better overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, indeed. I do have Hayden Bramley, by the way, at least on the points. One thing that I can confirm, he would be moving up to 2nd in the points table, at least. Well, he already would be after the first race, but you know, he would be in 2nd and looking pretty comfortable in that 2nd position as well, because I don't think Jaden Sherwood's scoring particularly great here. Here comes a battle over the race lead. Bramley making that move. He's not settled for 2nd place in this race. There is almost a bit of contact, and there is a one, and there's Croft and Woodhatch. He's been sent round by Dylan McClements, and Croft and Woodhatch on the cusp of winning the 2025 championship now drops down to 12, and I think that can basically put it down as 100%, Cam. We will be waiting for one further week to crown our champion.
And is open up the tour for a 2x2 battle. 1 minute to go, side by side, final lap time. Milikangas and Bramley. Bramley going for the double race lead. He's on the outside. Milikangas going for his first race win of the season, and he holds it firm this time round. In the background, we're going side by side for a while. Let's see this. So this is Woodhatch. He's the third car in shot. Side by side, Milikangas on the inside gets hit. Woodhatch tries to go to the inside, but McClements joins him, and the contact pushes Woodhatch around. He has to do almost a 3-point turn, but unfortunately for him, everyone's so close behind, he's lost so many positions.
I do feel that that is almost a little bit blameless, just because it's chaotic. Dylan McClements is doing what he can do to try and get through it. Crofton Woodhatch is keeping his eyes forward, and as McClements goes to the inside trying to avoid the instant, Crofton Woodhatch does the same thing. They just do it at the same time, and they trip over each other. I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said about that, really.
I agree. I don't think anyone is overly at fault. There's a little crash ahead of them, and they're just trying to avoid it. So that is a shame for McClements. He's not able to fight for this lead, and also now Woodhatch, who's down in 12th position. Final lap time though, and Milikangas is pulling away. Bramley has one final proper opportunity in towards his braking zone, but I think he's too far behind.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't think we're going to get the big drag race to the lines. I think we're going to get the big showstopper. I do think we're going to get Team Milikangas working his way across the line. Look at the focus and concentration on Hayden Bramley, who at the moment would be looking at 3 consecutive podiums, but he's looking for back-to-back victories. Can't quite do it though as we head through the penultimate turn and then into Ari Lyondike, the final corner, the big back turn. Team Milikangas for the first time in the UK Formula Ford 1600 is going to be the winner across the line by half a second back to Hayden Bramley, and an enormous drag race towards the line from all of those behind, not including Crofton Woodhatch. By our points here, it will go down to the wire. We need another round, and this heads to West Kingsdown to find our champion.
And that is absolutely amazing to see these guys batting so hard. By the way, there's 100th of a second between Sherwood and Sanders for 5th position as well. We saw them coming side by side in the background, and at the end, that is what we saw. Amazing stuff from these guys. Let's see how it all unfolded.
Indeed, of course, we've got the provisional results here, and they always really do need to be provisional in the UK Formula Ford 1600 and British Formula 4 Esports Championship, because you never really know how these unfold. But Team Milikangas victorious there by half a second over Hayden Bramley. Dylan McClements will catch up with those 3 after this. Of course, Bramley and McClements once again. Matt Kendall in 4th position with Jaden Sherwood in 5th. Then Sanders, Decker, Lynn, Morell and Paige Dothenbaugh. Matt Kendall in 4th position did also set the fastest lap of the race. Brandon Loudon 11th with Crofton Woodhatch in 12th. Charlie Summers in 13th position with Isaac Gay, Jonathan Smith, and once again Mark Winter, a retirement from the race. By my numbers, by my numbers, the gap needed was 27 points based on what we've got here, and the gap is 26. I'm not 100% convinced that is the case, but still, I can confirm that the championship is definitely going down into that final round. Let's not waste too much time, and let's catch up with our podium before we jump our way in. Of course, Hayden Bramley, we will catch up with first. I dragged in Hayden instead of Team. That's my bad. Hi, Hayden. Dragged you in a little bit early. Second place for you in that race. Couldn't quite find your way past Milikangas, but a great fight regardless.
Yeah, just some tricky racing, I'll say. I was definitely on for the win. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with how it went down.
Yeah, there was quite a big moment from Team Milikangas, especially at the Hans Ernst Bock, where it kind of all got a bit messy. Crofton Woodhatch then got spun round by Dylan McClements. What was your mentality in that moment? Obviously, I'm not asking you for a view on the incident or anything, but just what was going through your mind at that point? Was it, oh my God, is this about to be over here, or were you just pretty calm?
Yeah, well, the team I saw the gap opening on the inside, and it was quite a big gap at the time. So that's when I moved over, and then I started getting squeezed towards the inside. And, it's really hard to judge the breaking point from the inside. And I don't think I went really that wide, and I heard him go across the gravel, and I was like, this is probably going to be me up in the air over the fence here. I think the Neko gods just looked down us for a second and made it quite a small contact.
Well, by my points calculations, and again, as I've said time and time again on this broadcast, please do not trust them. But because of Crofton dropping down there, I think you're the only driver within mathematical contention of the title heading into the season finale, along with Crofton, of course. Any thoughts to that, or are you kind of just like, look, I'm focused on grabbing second, I'm focused on just grabbing some decent points next week?
Well, the gap, I'm sure, is still quite big. You know, it'll be quite a hard thing to surmount. So if I get lucky, obviously I'll take a championship if I get lucky, but it's definitely not the thing I have in mind. I'm definitely focused on just keeping that P2 and, you know, doing the best I can the rest of the races.
Well, I will run plenty of numbers after this round before next week and update you then. Best of luck, and yeah, we'll see you in a week's time, Hayden.
Yeah, see you.
There we go, Hayden Bramley onto the podium once again. Teemu Miller-Kangas will now catch up with, of course, our race winner after a great drive. Bit of battling in there, bit of chaos, bit of drama as well. What do you make of that race? There was a bit of drama there going into the Hans-Eric block between yourself and, of course, Hayden Bramley, and, of course, a little bit of a cluster behind. What was your thoughts on all that?
It was exciting race, and glad that I finally got to win, and it didn't come easy, but yeah, I don't know. I held my line going to the corner and went a bit wide as I had no room there, and then we had small contact, but yeah, it was good and fun racing and clean. It
made up for what was a fairly disappointing round at Knockhill, of course, the double retirement that you had just a week ago. To come into this with a 9th and a 1st, a very solid return to form, especially here in the second race. You made the most as well of the reverse grid pole. Is that what you're thinking? I mean, I can't imagine what your mindset was like leaving Knockhill with no points from that one round.
Yeah, last round was disaster. Yeah, and I don't know. I just tried to get as many points as possible, but top 3 are going away in the points, so I don't know. Let's just do the best in the last round and see what happens. But
scored decently, still very much involved with the fight for about 4th position. I think pretty sure 5 points separates 4th, 5th and 6th. You're 6th in the points at the moment. 5 points further behind the Sam Sanders. Looks like it's going to be an incredible fight in the championship between you lot. Best of luck in a week's time in our season finale, Teemu.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll catch up with Dylan McClements onto the podium once again. 3 consecutive podiums for you, Dylan. So clearly things are really clicking for you in the latter portion of the season. You said you were going to go elbows out and really go and chase after the victory. I'm sure you'll be pretty happy with another podium after a great race.
Yeah, it's hard the first couple laps to get through the grid compared to some like Hayden. Kind of struggled that, but I think it was lap 4 I got with the top pack and tried to bite my way through, and then I think the second last lap there was a bit of chaos at it, and like I saw a car go right, I went left, and I don't really know what happened, but I think that's what took me out of the chances of winning again.
Obviously, yeah, there was a bit of an incident that happened ahead of you when we had Teemu Miller-Kangas have a bit of a moment, and Hayden Bramley a little bit involved in that, and then of course the checking up of Crofton Woodhatch, you kind of got involved. Is that kind of how you see it as a bit of a racing, as a bit of an awkward one, as you know, cars ahead were having a bit of a moment? That's kind of what we felt in the comms booth.
Yeah, I mean, well, it kind of happened all too quick. I saw a car go right. My initial thought was just to go left, and you know, I'll have to look back on it, but it's kind of a weird one. I'm surprised that actually Teemu, who I think it was sideways, got straightened up actually at the end.
Yeah, fantastic racing once again. Like I say, you're up there involved in the top 5 of the championship, and I'm sure we're going to get an exciting round from you with our season finale. See if we can keep these consecutive podiums going in the final couple of races of the season. Best of luck.
Yeah, hopefully. Cheers.
There we go. Dylan McClements onto the podium once again. Cam, great round of racing once more here in the UK Formula Ford 1600s. But of course, don't go anywhere, because in a few moments' time, we'll be back for the penultimate round of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. So penultimate round of the season time here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. We are ready to go here in the dunes of Zandvoort. We've had a quality round of the UK Formula 4 1600s, and I'm sure we're in for yet another one. About 2.5 minutes away from qualifying. Here's how the evening will unfold. Of course, we'll have the battle for the BPS pole position in just a few moments' time. They get 10 minutes around the circuit, 4 laps in that session, and of course, we'll have the opening race of the evening. Just 4 left to go. That reverse grid race will be critical when it comes to the run into the 2025 title race. Here's what they're fighting for. We've got the prize pool, 2,500 points for the winning team, 1,500 for second, and a grand for third place. And that title race on the Teams Championship could be done in the opening race of the evening. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time. Of course, the top 3 teams also will receive 1 full day of single-seater simulator use at the base performance simulators alongside an engineer. Also, the winning team will receive 4 hospitality tickets and a round of their choice for the 2026 Wear Tools British Formula 4 Championship. And of course, as we discussed, the pole position award presented by BPS. That's for the driver with the most pole positions. They receive a BPS FW1 steering wheel and a BPS DDU, and the battle in that, by the way, is pretty tight. Both Remy Gilbert and Henry Moore have 2 poles apiece with 2 rounds left to go. And with those 2 rounds left to go, here's how the driver standings work. And yes, you'll be happy to hear there is absolutely no such thing as a drop score in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It's Remy Gilbert on 417 points. 406 for Henry Moore. Matt Caruana, who's missing from next week's action, is still roughly within contention of 360. Of course, will not be participating in that final round, so basically it'll be day done at the end of this one. Danny Moreno in 4th, then Leo Brown. Gogo Bowdy, fresh off his first ever British Formula 4 Esports Championship podium in 6th position with Iggy Smith, who had a terrible round, unfortunately, with some terrible luck, especially in that opening race from 7th position in the standings with 175 points. Augustin Tolashi, Connor Jupp, and of course, Ryan McAuliffe, the top 10. On the Teams Championship side of things, it's 823 points for Team Benek. TC Esports on 475. Basically, Benek, just if they kind of score decently in this race, they'll effectively take the title regardless. High most sets by EMM, though, very close in the battle for second in the title race with TC Esports, 471. 4 points separate the 2 of those. 286 for Drive Lounge Racing, 262 for Scuderia Ferrari, HP Esports team there, 13 clear of Alpine. Aztec up there as well, Aramco, the Aston Martin Aramco F1 Esports team with Williams Sim Racing and BS Competition rounding out the top 10. Qualifying is just around the corner though, Cam, and we're about ready to do battle once again for another BPS pole position. Now this circuit earlier on in the year, we did have racing in the FIA Formula 4 Esports Global Championship, and it was Henry Moore who had pole position and went on to take the victory. Surely he has a big advantage here courtesy of that, like just even mentally.
Absolutely, it's the confidence that is the big thing, and when you're in a championship this close and a couple of hundredths in qualifying will make a difference, having that confidence is so crucial as you get into that 10-minute qualifying window. But what we saw and Knockhill last week was Henry Moore not being happy with his qualifying. He didn't execute and he allowed Remy Gilbert to get the upper hand and eventually go on and retake the championship lead. So Henry Moore's got to have that execution in the bag this time around. I'm sure he's done a lot of practice to still keep up to speed despite doing this circuit a few weeks ago, just making sure that he's hitting every apex and not letting Remy get away. But when it is only about 11 points between them, anything can change really in these final 4 races.
Absolutely, Cam. We're on board with Henry Moore around the circuit. Like I say, he wasn't particularly pleased with how his qualifying session unfolded at Knockhill. That said, how many times this season, Cam, can you say you've watched Henry Moore cross the line and he's been particularly pleased?
Even when he's won. There's always something. Yeah, there's always something to improve, I guess. And having that mentality means he's going to be such a good driver in the future. Obviously, it's the 2nd season British F4 Esports. He was in the Formula 4 1600s the year before in 2023. So he's moving step by step forward with his career, and definitely, one of those young talents is going to be very strong in the future. So I do like the mentality, but you've also got to celebrate the wins.
Yeah, certainly so. Tops practice as well with a 32.955, and that will be the focus for him as he heads his way out onto the start-finish straight to begin a 4.25 kilometre run around the Zandvoort circuit, with, of course, that opening run down into Tarzan. Looking for that slightly later apex onto the brakes, and carry so much speed and brake so late into it, courtesy of that late apex. Through Tarzan, using all of that curve on the left-hand side, a flick to the left-hand side as they then go through the right-hander at turn 2 into Hugenholtz, almost all the way up by the white line as they work their way as if it's the banking at Bristol. Now around the mid part of the circuit through this S's section, they flick over to the right-hand side and basically cut the inside before they head into Sky Black, where they'll be super fast, extremely quick for this right-hander. Surely you won't see too much side-by-side through here, but you just never know with how brave these drivers get. Into Masters, a quick flick right, then onto the brakes heavily as they slow the car down into turn 9. Bring it back over to the right-hand side of the circuit when you can to prepare yourself for the short braking zone at turn 10, which they can pick about midway to just past midway around the corner, where they'll find that apex out onto the back stretch before they head down into the Hans Ernst Bot. Over to the left-hand side, using a bit of curve on the left, then into the right-hand side and absolutely clobber that curve as they head through the right-hand, then into the left-hand hairpin, leaving the arena section. 2 corners left to go, but really only 1 proper turn. They head into Kumo through the penultimate turn on the circuit, and then out into Ari Lyndike, down towards the white line as close as you can, and then be buttery smooth on the steering wheel. Hold it low as Henry Moore uses that downforce around the circuit. Again, 32.9 top the practice session. What's going to be topping this qualifying session? Maybe around the 32.9s, but at the moment it's a 33.3. Good opening qualifying run for Henry Moore.
Once again, not looking too pleased, but it's still kept him up towards the top, as Remy Gilbert importantly goes behind him, Leo Brown as well, within 1/10 of a second. So maybe that just is where these first laps are for everyone. He's still got quite a few tenths left in hand. Let's see what other people can do. Tolashi importantly up there for TC Esports MP5. They are looking for second place in the teams, fighting with Haimo, who is Caruana and Chadwick. So that is an important one for them, as Beckham just said. That's a lot more like it for Williams up into P4.
Yeah, and of course the opening lap in that qualifying session for Matt Caruana, either there was a whopping mistake and then he backed off, or it was always part of the plan to not go full attack on the opening lap of this qualifying session. And now, as the session builds up, now start to push, now start to build, now start to find that lap time. Will Murdoch goes up into 6th position. Few other drivers, I think it's definitely strategy, because also Will Chadwick also has a slow lap time, and of course he's Caruana's teammate in the Haimo by EMM Setups team. Shomi Shintani in the Williams Academy car goes up into 5th position. Of course, the runner-up in the UK Formula 4 1600s 12 months ago.
Yes, indeed, and it's such a high-level field that we are going to be seeing everyone trying their best. It's interesting that you say with the slow first lap, because I guess that's just how they want to condition the tyres for the final couple of laps of the run. 5 minutes to go, and we're about to see the second lap times coming in. Morley's Gilbert from Brown up towards the front at the moment. Also, just seeing there's Shintani up towards the front. So the 3 Williams cars looking a lot better this time around. Let's see if this is going to continue on as next laps come in. Danny Moreno for TC Sports. That's important for him up into P5.
Let's see if Matt Caruana is going to improve big on this lap. He heads up towards the line. 33.495 will be enough to move him up into about 5th or 6th position. Will Chadwick goes up into 4th. And importantly, you say about conditioning the tyres. I do believe Benek are doing the exact opposite, because Henry Moore, his opening lap time being the 33.309 that currently holds the base performance simulator pole position, his second lap was a 39.9. So obviously dropping that 5 or 6 seconds just to try and bring the temperature back down on the tyres before pushing once again on the penultimate lap for him in this qualifying session. In fact, actually, I think he's backed off once again. I'm not sure he's fully pushing around this circuit, although it could just be my eye. It's kind of one of those ones, as much as you get 4 lap time in the session, you can't use all of them. The tyres don't last the entirety.
Yeah, you don't do 4 push laps in a row, that is for sure. This is one of the biggest things that we've seen over the last couple of years, well, not even more than a couple of years now, has been in the sim, you have to get your tyres in check like you'd see in real life, and that is important. And then, of course, in practice, that's where you need to try different things. Don't just keep, throwing, the ball at the wall and just hoping that it sticks. You're going to have to try something different to try and obviously get those last couple of tenths. Interestingly, though, Lewis, about how far we are off the practice time. But let's see this once again, as we see drivers here like Conor Moore here doing a slow lap, trying to get the tyres at the temperatures and the pressures that they want.
The lap time from Henry Moore, I did say he might be going slow. He just set a 40.0 on the lap time. So 2 cool laps to try and bring himself into the window. It will be exactly the same for this driver here who we ride on board with, championship leader Remy Gilbert. To be fair, when you're setting a 33.3 and then you back that up with a 44.0 and 42.8, which is what Remy Gilbert's just done. I've done that in some qualifying sessions where you do have to back off. It is criminally boring. So, but you have to do it because you have to be so careful on those tyres. You're literally driving around like you're sat behind some Sunday drivers on the back from coming back from a nice round of golf. It ruins the day.
It certainly does. But then you have to wake up again. You just spent 3 minutes tooting around doing nothing. Now you have to get the adrenaline going and get yourself hyped up for peak performance for the final lap of the session that it will be. So let's see if he's going to be able to nail it. It's looking pretty good so far, but all he needs is 61 thousandths of a second to jump his teammate. Blink of an eye. And then, of course, he's got Leo Brown, his good friend in the 33, not too far behind. So it is a crucial lap here if he wants to do this, but even second place will be fine for his championship position. Lovely riding over the curbs there. That car is settled well.
Yeah, throwing it around as hard as you can, almost to the same degree as Cameron Roger doing a late night drive to Amesbury on a Saturday night. Flying around the circuit. That's what these drivers are trying to do at the moment. Henry Moore, will there be any improvement? 33.302. I'm sure he won't be particularly pleased because I think that lap time is under threat across the line. Remy Gilbert, champion leader, 33.225. Base performance, pole position sitter. Is it going to go the way of Remy Gilbert for the 3rd time in 2025? Henry Moore did not have a response and will not be challenging for pole position. His qualifying session's already done. I'm sure he's not particularly pleased behind the wheel of that car.
Once again, Moore not executing like he would have wanted. That is important. Shom Shintani, as we're looking at, he's having a much better day. He had an awesome first round of the season, but has not been able to back it up since they were his only top 10s. He got P9, P5, and that is it. He's been struggling since then. Is this a little bit more like it after doing so well in the F4 1600 last season? Second place in the championship, up towards the line. P8 it is going to be right now. What is it going to be when we get to the end of the session? It's going to be a 0.5. That's going to be a solid lap, but not enough really to do anything for his position. So he's going to stay in P8.
Remy Gilbert, though, with 30 seconds left to go in this qualifying session. A lot of the time coming into the season, it was all the talk of Henry Moore. It was all the talk of how he was going to do it, all the talk of this, that, and the other. And you kind of forget how good of a driver Remy Gilbert is. And I will say, for a driver who's been in this championship for a lot, fair enough, he has risen to the occasion. He is definitely a comfortable contender. He's not just lucked into that spot. He's done a brilliant job with it.
Yeah, he's not doing the old Oscar Piastri when it gets tough at the end of the championship. He is coming for this. And to be fair, we've always known that Remy has been this good, but all the talk over the last year and a bit has all been, Henry Moore this, Henry Moore that. But slowly but surely, Remy is being there. In the last 4 races, he's had either first or second. His results are speaking loud and clear at a crucial point in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the starting grid for the opening race of the evening. It's the top 2 title protagonists for Team Benik. It is Remy Gilbert and Henry Moore on the front row. Leo Brown with Beckham Jasir. Will Chadwick up there in 5th position with Danny Moreno for TC Esports in 6th position. Behind all of that, it is Matt Caruana with just 7th position. Shoma Shintani, Augustin Tolashi, Pablo Estes, Conor Muir, and Will Murdoch in 12th position. Jonathan Riley will be starting from 13th with Lucas Herman. Charles Genet in 15th Of course, Iggy Smith, Ollie Stone, and Kieran Harding in 8th position. Had a great showing, at least on pace, at the previous round of the season at Notgill. Corioline in 19th position with College Up for Alpine Sim Racing. We won't be too happy with finishing the qualifying position in 20th. Diana Perez, Rope Kirkapau, Noah Osbaldeston, and of course, Alexander Strabel, all Scorpio, back there on row number 12. Archie Heron and Han Jacob Mollat with Nathan Tague, Anna Di Pasquale, and of course, Izzy Matthews. Gergo Bowdy from 30th position, along with Ryan McAuliffe in 31st. I believe quality bands for the pair of them. Well, either way, they put themselves in position and ready to go. I'm not going to ask you who's winning this race, Cam. Don't you panic. But we are going to get a tough fight down in the first corner, and I do get the feeling this whole team's orders, yes, they're all battling for the title at the top. I don't think there's anything. They're just race cleanly, boys.
To be honest, you can ask me who's going to win. I think it's not going to be either of the Bennett boys. I think
really
either two things. Either one, they're going to take each other out fighting, or there'll be someone behind with the slipstream.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We've got 20 minutes on to the clock. We've got ourselves 31 cars ready to battle in the dunes of Zandvoort, and we are racing into the first corner. Remy Gilbert with an excellent conversion from the BPS pole position to take over and hold the lead into the first corner, keeping his teammate and championship rival Henry Moore at bay. They head their way through Tarzan, and we look for drama in the background. Jonathan Riley going out there fairly wide for the Scuderia Ferrari HB Esports team at the opening turn. Ryan McAllis already gained a few positions. Connor Muir also going side by side, but Remy Gilbert is your race leader as we head out onto the back stretch. Leo Brown knocking at the door as well.
Tell you what, that's way cleaner than I thought. Looks like there's no major issues for now, and that is going to just open the door for a nice clean getaway at the front. Gilbert leads more for now, but surely there's going to be a big fight between these two teammates. They're going for the championship. They've basically got the team's championship lined up. As long as they get a couple of points here, they're going to be absolutely fine in the team's championship, because to be honest, they've already won it coming into this race. It's the likes of TC Esports who need to outscore them, and TC Esports are not there at this moment in time. The two altitude cars having issues at the back.
Yeah, indeed, joined by one of the rocked Red Bull cars as well, so a bit of a shame there in all of that. Did also see that Will Chadwick had a monstrous look down here at the inside of him from Danny Moreno, but no switches happening. It is still Gilbert leading from Moore, from Brown, from Jasir, then from Chadwick, Moreno, Caruana, Shintani, Torlashi and Espes the top 10. Bit of a turnaround for Williams here, of course. Becca Jasir in 4th position, Shoma Shintani up there, Pablo Espes in the top 10, all 3 of their cars, of course, including the Academy car, right up in the mix.
Yeah, we saw Espes in the first race of the season, but let's see how this goes. Whoa. Big send up the inside for Jasir. This could be the second podium of the season for Williams after Espes back first race. So this is an important one for Williams to turn their season around. So Leo Brown didn't see that one coming clearly, and it's gone back down into 4th position. And this is it's really nice to see, to be honest, because they were so good a couple of years ago. They really struggled last season despite having 2 teams there, but now they've got two drivers and an academy driver, and they should have enough emphasis up towards the front, but we haven't seen them enough.
I'm sure Team Bennett's team manager, Seb Hawkins, will have a very good understanding as to what kind of driver Beckham Jasir is, ex-Williams sim racing team manager. We'll be keeping an eye on this, trying to secure the 1-2, not only in this race, but obviously in the title race as well, in position. Of course, as expected, they are comfortably in position to secure the title as well, which I think was a pretty foregone conclusion heading into this round that was definitely going to be sorted here at Circuit Zandvoort. They're well in position and they're comfortable to do so. I bet, to be fair, even if they didn't finish this race, they actually still would be comfortable enough because it's not a 1-2 for their main rivals in the title race either side of it. So TC Esports or Hymo says by EMM would need a 1-2 here, and that isn't happening.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's a race situation where they need to be outscored rather than just score themselves. Yeah. That was the situation last time out at Notkill, but it didn't quite happen as we are going for the race lead. Beckham just here around the outside for 2nd place. He's got the fastest lap of the race on the previous one, but he goes too wide, and now Leo Brown is going to have the opportunity to regain that 3rd position that he held just a lap and a half ago, but I think the Williams driver is going to hold on. He needs to get high enough, though, to not let Leo Brown get the run on the outside, and he does so. That is perfect car placement from Williams.
Yeah, I mean, look, Beckham Jasir there. He had the inside line going into Hugenholz, right? And then basically full sent it going into the inside of it. So then he's going to wash up the circuit. So he's got the high line on the exit and get on the power early. It is great defence and well executed there by Beckham Jasir. But because of that aggressive move that he did on the inside of Leo Brown, it means that then the Team Bennett duo that sit first and second will be well aware of it happening. The problem is for Henry Moore is he's got to be so focused on what Beckham Jasir is doing behind that he can't effectively fight his teammate to find his way through into the race lead. At the moment, of course, he'd be losing a further 6 points in the title race. He can ill afford to do that if he wants to find himself at the top step of the podium in a week's time and become the 2025 British Formula 4 Esports Champion.
And it's such a long train here. They need to be careful. Any small slip up, and look at the absolute train of cars behind. They're going to come past them. This is a lot of pressure on these shoulders. They've been up towards the front all season, and now it's come down to fight. But how much do you want to send it? Surely Moore needs to wait to try and get away from the drivers behind, but I don't think they're going to get away. It's just such a big slipstream train that everyone is going to stay there until someone starts fighting.
Look, they're being wise at the moment, those Team Bennett cars. I get the feeling that they could fight maybe a little harder than they are, and are presently just holding position in first and second. And the more that time will go on in this race, the more they'll be open to fight. The problem is they can't fight too hard at the moment, courtesy of the car being directly behind. They've got to be careful. They've got to be aware. They've got to have their eyes on the prize and think big picture here. But that kind of comes at a price, and that price is Henry Moore's patience. How long will he be patient in this race until he just says, do you know what? Enough's enough. I'm going for this title, whether you like it or not.
At some point, he's got to go for it. At some point, he can't sit behind. All he did was lose last time out, and especially not just in points, but in terms of championship position. So you've got to be keeping that momentum, because imagine if he gets the championship lead back, he regains those 11 points over tonight's 2 races. He has the momentum going into Brands Hatch. Whereas if it's the other way around, Gilbert's leading, he's got the confidence there, and all of a sudden Moore has to make some desperate moves. So it's going to be, it's going to be a tough one. His box, but some boxes are gone. He's sold some of his products or whatever it is that he's got in behind, clearly.
I think it was T-shirt. It's like, I think is it football shirts? I can't remember. Ollie has explained to me before. I can't remember, but he runs I say a little business, but the amount of those boxes. Boxman's doing some work. Go and message him on Instagram if you fancy anything of whatever is in the box. I mean, why not? That's what happened to us once, and we found the answer and completely forgot. What has happened? Beckham Jasir and Leo Brown have spun round. There's definitely been some contact between them as we ride back on board with Boxman.
Yeah, that had to be a side-by-side in towards the first corner. It ended up with the drive lounge car, the Williams car, all spun around. Jasir's gone down to 13th position. Oh, further contact up there. Yeah. That's the other drive lounge car. Is that Harding, though? And yes, it is this time around. What a couple of corners. That is not what they would have wanted after having a couple of struggles this season. Both drivers involved in incidents about 30 seconds apart.
I'm expecting a message from Zach Sweeney anytime now saying about the disaster for Drive Lounge. That is a big shame for the Drive Lounge team. Let's see on board. There's Beckham Jasir getting aggressive, looking to the inside. Oh, is there any contact as well with Henry Moore, who's getting aggressive? If there was no contact with Moore, Henry Moore is a very lucky boy.
That could have been championship changing. That could have taken Henry Moore out. That would have given Remy Gilbert such a big championship advantage with 3 races to go. Moore, I mean, to where he did get out of the way a little bit. Saw it coming, but there was still a lot of luck involved in that one.
It's a little too aggressive from Beckham Jasir for my liking. Let's see on board then with Leo Brown. There's Jasir getting too aggressive. I mean, Moore read it as brilliantly as he could. Leo Brown didn't get any damage on the car, but obviously had to get, was remaining stationary, and just a bit awkward. Then, of course, Harding got into the rear end of one of the Mentor driven by us cars. So Henry Moore both getting lucky and being very aware as to what's going on. But yes, that was just a little bit too aggressive from Beckham Jasir for my liking.
I mean, okay, as much as by the rules he's free to do that, but I don't think at this point in the championship you go 3 wide with the 2 championship rivals. That is such a risky move, and in the end it didn't work out. So there's further contact in the background, big flip around, difficult to see who that is with all of the smoke, but
was that Leo Brown?
It might have been. Or is it Harding getting involved in further things? That would not be ideal indeed. We'll get a replay of that one shortly. But on the track, by the way, we've got the Hymo by Imam in 3rd and 4th place. We've got TC Sports in 5th and 8th place. That's important for the championship. Let's see this one. curve.
Oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was right on the curve. Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It spun around. Some Mario Kart power-ups were used in that bad boy, unfortunately. But that's just some of the bits of contact that happened going through there. Woo! There we go. That's the spin. Quite make you feel a bit ill in the car.
I certainly will. Oh my word, what a race we're having. This could be championship deciding. We've had an issue there for Riley, who's gone around. He's going to have to wait for all of the drivers to come back past him. But this could have been championship deciding just by the fact of Benik winning the Constructors. And then also with Moore being taken out, that could have been a big factor. And now in the Constructors, it's TC versus Hymo as well for second place in the championship in the Constructors, which remember is where the prize money is given.
Yeah, let's see a couple more of these moves. Obviously, Scuderia Ferrari HB Esports team sent off there with the number 70 Riley. Sent down the order with a bit more contact. It's turning into a bit of a... We had such a good battle in the UK Formula 4 1600. It's a bit of a meme fest here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship where Race Control, I'm sure they'll be pulling their hair out, getting ready for all the penalties that might come these drivers' ways.
If there's one championship I definitely don't want to be a steward in, it's probably this one. So these guys, they go crazy, as we know, over the course of the seasons. It's such an entertaining championship, but we're on fast cars on small tracks, although we are here at Zandvoort today. That is way too deep. And that's Pez. No, Shintani. Way too deep up in towards the first corner and going down into 10th position. We have a swap at the front. Caruana gets past Chadders as well for 3rd and 4th place. Caruana missing the final round of the championship, but he is 3rd place in the drivers. So that means a 1-2-3 on the road and a 1-2-3 in the championship.
Obviously, Caruana missing the last round of the season. If you want to know who's replacing, obviously you can go back and find Matt Caruana's interview from the last round, but it should be, on paper, Joseph Loke returning to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, which is always a bit of fun. I'm sure he's sick of seeing me after doing a bit of driver coaching around GB4 last year. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, he's just name dropping. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're best mates basically. He's driven an F1 car. I've not. Yeah, it's certainly an awesome driver to have back in the championship. It was great fun to have him for the cameos that he did last season as well. He ended up doing, I think, half the season basically as a reserve last season. So basically just a part-time driver. But of course, way into the GT World side of things nowadays, as Caruana is getting very close for 3rd position, up towards the back of Henry Moore, who still has not made a proper move on Remy Gilbert. He's remaining very patient, and I'm sure is going to look very happy if we turn to his camera, as he ever does. Coming up towards turns 9 and 10 now, Caruana, I think, has more opportunity of winning this race, being in 3rd, than Moore does in 2nd. Moore's a little bit stuck, whereas Caruana can do some big sense from him. Need to go and open the old classic every race spreadsheet, because I'm curious on what the most amount of consecutive podiums is in British Formula 4 Esports history. I think it's 2, 4, 6. I can count. I think it's 9 podiums, which is mental. For the second time this season, though, if Remy Gilbert's able to finish where he's driving at the moment, for the second time this season, we have 5 consecutive podiums. Tell me he's not a worthy contender for this championship, Basil. That's mental.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job, and that also, by the way, that would be only 3 races where he's not been on the podium. As we go almost 3 wide for the lead here, Gilbert, big set to the inside for Caruana. This could be for 2nd place. Moore is under threat here, and this is further points lost to his championship rival. He's going to have to hold on to this one. Caruana knows the situation and backs out of that one.
But this is the thing, is that I don't know if there has been any communication here between the 2 Benik drivers as to whether they're not allowed to fight. The only reason I suggest that is that everyone else is able to slipstream and do battle. Why are those 2 not able to do it? By them not switching positions and them not battling, they're opening the door for everyone else to potentially get involved in this if they're not careful. Here comes Caruana to the outside, coming down in the sky. Like I said, we weren't going to get too much side by side there. There is a little bit of brush between them. Caruana's going to go out wide, but Chadwick's going to come through. And if there is one driver on this grid, he will not settle for this 1-2 lark from Benik. Chadwick will be up there. He is not shy of getting a bit sendy-wendy.
Absolutely not, especially when he's not got the results that he would have wanted this season. He's down in 12th position. He's only had 4 top 10 finishes, which is mental to say from a driver who should be getting race victories by talent, but has not been having the results that he would have wanted. So he's going to be up for this one, especially knowing that they're fighting for second place in the constructors. So these extra points would be very, very helpful indeed, with Caruana being out of it in terms of the driver standings. This race, though, does remind me a little bit of Abu Dhabi 2016, when I think it's actually benefiting Gilbert having all these drivers come up behind Moore and put the pressure on him. If he was trying to pull away, I think it would actually give Moore a bit extra breathing room.
100%. There's another look coming in from Will Chadwick now in the Hymo set up by EMM team car. There is a look to the inside in the background. Charles Genet doing battle with Leo Brown, going for the up and under on the recovery drive up through the field in a car that is fairly undamaged. I think he managed to get away from Beckham Jasir's car without any damage. Now Leo Brown to the outside as they head their way into the banked corner of Hugenholt. Still can't get past Charles Genet. Goes for a switch back onto the inside. Got one of the Aston Martin Aramco Formula 1 Esports team drivers as well directly behind him. Back on board with Will Chadwick, trying to find his way onto the top step of the podium, to be perfectly honest, but he'll settle for second for now.
He certainly would. He's been in this position before and he's benefited from that. He looks very focused and concentrated as we hit 5 minutes to go. First race of the day. The two Team Benix have been leading from the start. They have not battled so far. At some point, I'm sure they will be allowed to go racing. They're fighting for a championship at the end of the day. Moore is not going to sit there and hold on to second place, but for now, it doesn't make sense to allow and open up the door for someone like Chadders to jump down the inside. We've got a little bit of a breakaway at the front. 8 drivers remain in this train.
I hope they definitely do fight, because if not, it's a little bit disappointing, because then the championship fight is basically just going one way and not the other. Let's see if this is the prime opportunity for them, the biggest gap between them and the rest of the field. I'm not 100% sure, but I wonder, I mean, he's not chasing after the slipstream. I wonder if Henry Moore's lifting a little bit there on the start-finish straight. I'd have to check that one on some replays and such, but regardless, the field does not change too aggressively on that race down into the first corner.
Everyone's been a little bit too calm there at the front, but not calm is in behind. We've seen Iggy Smith battling here, trying to get up into P13 at this moment. Oh, contact is made, and that BS car gets absolutely sent. Now Matty Herman and absolutely sent off at turn 2. I didn't see how big the contact was. It was just as we flipped away, but it was enough to send him. But it was such a fast corner. The tiniest bit of contact on the rear wheel, for instance, will send your car into the wall.
Absolutely will, and yeah, a bit dramatic in all of that, but let's see it once again, see where everyone ends up. Oh goodness me,
that's unlucky. Oh, we didn't even hit the wall. I'd say it's a bit unlucky actually.
Yeah, very much so.
I would say that was quite exaggerated, the outcome, but I guess if it hit the front wheel, it would have turned his wheel to the left as well. So it didn't help the situation. And that is a big shame. BS Competition not having the run in this championship that they would have wanted, currently down in 10th out of the 17 teams.
Did just have a little check on my own end, a little bit of an onboard with Henry Moore, just to see what was going on. Wasn't necessarily lifting on the start-finish straight. It definitely lifted into C1 a little bit early. I just don't think it's necessarily finding the slipstream and hunting for it. Penultimate lap of the race. Let's see if we are going to get a battle. Defensive line coming in from Remy Gilbert. Now Henry Moore. I think they've been given the call now that they can do battle. Penultimate lap of the race. Henry Moore looking to the outside as they work their way back into the first corner. The inside line from Remy Gilbert is comfortable enough, but the up and under comes in from Henry Moore. The battle for the top 2 in the championship. They have been given the command that fighting for the title is now on, but you've got to do it cleanly, boys, because here comes Will Chadwick as well, straight on the inside. Is he going to push Henry Moore off the road as well? Brilliant racing between the top 3 and all that. Fantastic, just about enough space given.
This is the issue. As soon as Moore starts batting Gilbert, it opened up the door for Chadwick, so it actually wasn't beneficial for him to go for that move. It's crazy as it seems that sometimes being, attacking like that actually makes you go backwards, but that is how modern racing is nowadays. Gilbert's still going to lead with a lap and a half to go in this race. Moore is stuck. He needs to try and find a way through. He's 11 points back in the standings, and I mean, it's just going to be increasing if he can't do anything about this.
Sure, the heart rates are rising now as things are building, frustration brewing, and the heart rates Well, they are beginning to creep up bit by bit as we prepare for the final lap of the race here in the opening race at Zandvoort. It's an 8-car train for race victory. It's Gilbert, Moore, Chadwick, Caruana, Moreno, Espes, Toulashi and Murdoch. Of course, the top 4 are occupied by just 2 teams in Team Bennett and Hymo Sales by EMM. How are these things going to unfold by the time we get down to the Tarzan? Not quite closer as this time for Henry Moore as he closes up to Remy Gilbert, who's taking that defensive line. But is there any imagination that can be used here by Henry Moore to find his way through?
Yeah, he tried that. He tried the fake to go left and then back to the right, but Gilbert was aware of that and kept that door firmly closed. Chadwick, we can't see him, but he's still right on the back of Moore. Nothing to be done just yet as we work our way up the hill once again. Gilbert is leading, and to be honest, where is Moore going to do this? He's going to have to try and shock him from somewhere. This might be the opportunity, but around the outside of Skybike, you're not going to want to do that. He avoids the curve. Moore gets the bump, and look at this up the inside of Skybike. The 2 championship rivals go side by side.
Brilliant look from Henry Moore. Remy Gilbert slightly out wide. The inside line potentially into Masters, but it's not quite there. Remy Gilbert is able to hang on, and he's just about fending off the charge of the 4-time winner this season.
I can't work out if Chadwick wants to send this or not. At some point, Moore's going to have to do a do or die. He's going to be losing in the championship for the 3rd race in a row, and this 4th race in a row even. And this is important points that he's going to need. Surely at some point he's going to send it. This is his final opportunity.
Yeah, we head down into the Hans-Ernst spot, but it's been a brilliant drive from Remy Gilbert, who just about locks the front right. Opportunity potentially for Chadwick here to come through. Side by side between the top 2 as they head down into Kumo. The final braking zone of the circuit, the final run as they go round this right-hander. Then into Ari Lyondike. Who's got the advantage? It's going to be a drag race between the Team Bennett duo, and I think Will Chadwick might have a sniff of the victory as well. It's a drag race towards the line that's going to see Henry Moore creep across the line to become #1 on the all-time winners list, unless Will Chadwick find his way through. An incredible drag race to the line as Henry Moore claws back some of that championship margin, and then even more as well. Chadwick able to sneak his way through in a 2nd spot, and Remy Gilbert goes from 1st to 3rd in the final drag.
4 drivers within a 1/10 of a second. How on earth has Remy Gilbert as well not even got on the 1st or 2nd step? He did everything that he could correctly in that race, but it's more from Chadwick, who got the double slipstream up towards the line. Oh, that is absolutely unbelievable. Remy is going to be so fuming with that, because not only did he lose points now to Henry Moore, but there's another driver in between them, and that is going to really change over this championship. It is all to play for as we get to 3 races to go.
We'll bring out the spinny wheel, but I've just done the quick math in my head. Cam, we've got a locked championship lead. They'll be on the same points. And the reverse grid number, it's going to be a 10, right in the middle of where we could possibly get it between 5 and 10. So this 10-car field will be spun around after an incredible race here. Absolute box office at Zandvoort. It's Henry Moore, it's Chadwick, it's Gilbert, it's Caruana, all separated by 1/10 of a second. Danny Moreno in 5th with Pablo Espes, Augustin Toulashi and Will Murdoch. 8 cars within 1 second across the line. Incredible. Shoma Shintani and Connor Muir in 9th and 10th position. Beck and Jasiri finishes in 11th position, will steal away the fastest lap as well. Leo Brown in 12th. Decent recovery drive from the pair of those after some moments earlier on in the race. Iggy Smith in 13th with Charles Genet. Boxman Ollie Stone in 15th position with Gergo Bowdy, the highest place in the Scuderia Ferrari HB Esports team. Rope Kirkapau in 17th position with Strabel, Teig and Di Pasquale, the top 20 for the Rocked Red Bull Racing Esports team. Lucas Herman in 21st with Izzy Matthews. Then it is Riley, Perez, and then the rest of the field of retirements as Boulderson, McAuliffe, Yup. Then, of course, Elaine, of course, Harding, of course, Heron as well. Big drama. And one final car to talk about, Hans Jakob Mollat. Oh my goodness, what an incredible race. I will have to catch my breath. We'll have to see this drag race to the line once again. Insane scenes, lots of squeezing around, and there was the line, and it was Henry Moore who crossed it first, and I'm sure was very happy with that. I have got to drag him in, so prepare yourself, because I'm sure he's chatting with the other 2, but here we go. 3, 2, 1, bish bash bosh. We got him into the commentary booth without any other words being dragged through. Henry Moore What a drive. What a victory. That was incredible. One of the tightest finishes, I think even the tightest finish we've ever seen in British Formula 4 Esports history. You're now number 1 on the all-time winners list as well. 9th victory in British Formula 4 Esports. And you are now, I believe, the joint championship leader as well after Remy Gilbert dropping down to the 3rd. That was mental. What was it like from your point of view?
Yeah, it was something. I was just trying to get Remy away from everyone, and yeah, didn't quite manage to break away. So yeah, it ended up being a scrap for the win on the last lap. So yeah, happy to come away with it, and good points for the team's championship as well.
When you have that final run, obviously you came out of the Hansard box, the 3rd to last corner. You got a little bit of side-by-side heading down into the penultimate corner around the outside at Kumo. What is the heart rate like? What's going through your mind when you're sending that? Because I'm sure most of us regular folk here that you know, take part in sim racing and give it a go, your heart rate's rising, your hands are trembling. How do you keep that focus and calm relatively in such a high stakes environment?
I think for me it's just about keeping focus. I knew there was gravel coming up on the exit on the outside, so I was just trying to avoid that really. So yeah, it's just keeping focus and trying to manage the heart rate a bit, even if it is going a bit crazy.
Reverse grid's right in the middle of where it could possibly be. It is a 10-car reverse grid. Around here, it feels like it's pretty raceable. I mean, we had an 8-car train there across the line in under a second. Are you feeling confident to be able to work your way through and keep out of drama around here in what is a fairly drama-filled circuit?
Yeah, for sure. I knew from practice and obviously a couple of weeks ago that the pace was really strong around here. So yeah, we'll just see what we can do and keep the nose clean.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Henry Moore, another victory, a 5th of the season, a 9th overall, and now number 1 on the all-time winners list. Will Chadwick will join us in the commentary booth as well. Chad, it's obviously great to hear from you. It's the first time we've seen you on the podium this season, which is pretty mental for someone who's been on the podium a fair few times, winning a fair few times. But that race was crazy. I think there might have been a point in there where you might not have got a podium on that drag to the line. You might have got a victory on that drag to the line. You were 3rd on it. That was just crazy. What is it like?
I quite like this track. We went well here last year, and yeah, I mean the run to the line. It's a bit of a lottery. Matt behind, who was giving a push, had a bit of wing damage. So I think maybe without that, maybe we could have sneaked it. But you know, fair play to them. You know, the 3 of them in that team fighting hard all race, and obviously they're fighting for a championship as well. So we're just trying to get as many points as we can, you know, in the team standings. And I think this is probably the best race we've had all year for collective points.
Yeah, it definitely is. 2nd and 4th place for you. You know, scoring points on. You had a 2nd and 5th earlier on at Snetterton earlier on in the season as a team. 539 points for it's 523 for TC Esports. It's not a ridiculously comfortable gap, but it is a good one. Is you know, what's the mentality with that? How do you wrestle that, especially knowing that you're going to have a different teammate heading into the season finale?
If a teammate at all. But yes,
oh, really?
We're just trying to score as many points as possible. And I think it's just a case of playing the long game. You know, it's super easy to get into incidents in this series. You know, me and Matt have been fortunate enough not to get a quali ban all season or not really be reprimanded for anything. We've had a few incidents here or there, but you know, it's about staying consistent, you know, trying to get the results and not getting crashed into.
Well, now you've said it, it's all going to happen in this second race, I'm sure. No, 10-car reverse grid, you'll be starting from 9th spot. Come on, there's a chance of a podium in there.
Of course there is, Lewis. Of course there is.
That's it. I like that confidence. Let's see what you can do. Will Chadwick here from 2nd position on the grid.
Thank you. Right.
We'll now join Remy Gilbert, our joint championship leader, and of course, driver as a part of our champion team, Team Bennett. They have been crowned champion by far more than enough points to be crowned champion. It's been an epic season from you lot as a team. But disappointment on that run to the line. You came out of the final corner in 1st place, ended at the line in 3rd in the tightest finish that I've ever seen in British Formula 4 Esports history. Someone's got to come out of that disappointed. It just so happened that, unfortunately, this occasion it was you. What's that like? Yeah, again, so difficult to stomach and move straight on from.
Yeah, well, I was first, happy with the pole lap. I think, I struggled all week practicing for this, but yeah, managed to hook up for quali, and then sort of controlled the race from the start, and just a little bit frustrated to be passed down the straight on the last lap, but next race I just got to try and get my head down and score more good points.
Yeah, like I say, the pole lap was great. It does mean you're leader of the BPS pole position award as well. You've got 3 pole positions to Henry's 2, so more things that you're fighting for in this title race. But of course, we do have to keep our eyes focused on that title race. And Cam pointed out on broadcast a little bit earlier on, again, about your consistency this season. We've had 13 races, 10 of which you've been on the podium. You've only failed to make the podium on 3 occasions. All 3 of those have been in the top 10. It's been a ridiculously consistent season. I mean, that's got to be really like a confidence building for you coming into a race, knowing that like you've got this great form across the season. It's not really faltered on any occasion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't really had the amount of race wins, but I guess I've always been there to pick up the points. And I don't know how it stands right now as of that race, but whatever happens, I think I should be proud of my results this year. And what comes, and it's just going to be what it is.
Indeed. Well, I will confirm to you as it stands with 3 races left to go, there is 0 points between yourself and Henry Moore. It is as tight as it could be. And of course, you're fighting your teammate in the championship. That has to in itself be almost harder than fighting someone else, because if you fight someone else, you can basically do what you want and you have carte blanche to go on the attack. And here, though, you've got those inter-team rules that make it so difficult sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's always been sort of respectful between me and Henry. We're really good friends off track. So, whoever comes out on top is going to be congratulated by the other person. So, let's just see how these last 3 races go. And, but best of luck to him as well, I guess.
Best of luck to the pair of you, and hopefully we get a good show all the way to our season finale in West Kingsdown. Best of luck, Remy, and another great podium for the 10th time this season.
Thank you very much.
There we go, Cam. What a superb podium. What a superb drive. And again, excellent to hear from our top 3 once again. And the fact the championship has no points between them with 3 races left to go. There was points in that race where I was getting a little bit concerned. I'm no longer concerned. This is going to be a great fight for the title.
Yeah, this is awesome. But I think the biggest thing here is that other people can get involved in this championship, because Chadwick was there. If that was just those 2 drivers, and Gilbert obviously was only 2nd place, he was still the lead of the championship. But no, Chadwick took a couple of points there, and now it is all set. So with 3 races to go, 0 points is basically back to level 1 again, where we were at the start of the season, and it's a 3-race sprint to the finish. I can't wait to see this. And starting with a reverse grid, anything can happen. If one of these drivers gets taken out, then it could not necessarily game over mathematically, but realistically it could be game over, because then there'll only be 2 points or 2 races to get points and to turn that back around.
Yeah, you cannot afford a retirement at this end of the season, not for any driver on this field, and certainly not for the 2 battling for the title. Like I say, it is a tough one that you're fighting your teammate. If it was like last season where it was Henry Moore versus Graham Carroll, sometimes that's almost easier, because it is, like you say, basically an open book to go on the attack with the 2 of those being teammates. There are rules of engagement between the pair of them that, of course, Seb Hawkins, team manager of Team Bennett, will be navigating as cautiously as he possibly can to make it as fair as possible between the 2 of them. I was getting a little critical there. I think it was well judged. They basically wait until the last 2 laps and then do battle. I get the feeling you won't be afforded that opportunity quite as much in this race, with the reverse grid being taken into account and Henry Moore starting from 10th, Remy Gilbert starting from 8th.
Yeah, they don't have any control over the race in that regard. I was trying to think of when you're doing these interviews of, is there any way that Gilbert could have done that differently? But I guess that little lockup coming in towards the stadium section was enough to give Moore the run. Then when he was to the left-hand side coming up towards Kumo, he can't really go anywhere else. And then Chadwick's trying to get up the inside. I guess if he hadn't made the lockup, maybe Moore would have been a little bit further in behind, and it would have just been a 2-car battle. I don't know. It's difficult to say if, buts, and maybes, but that lockup certainly cost him a few points, I think.
It definitely did. The thing is, it's so easy to do when you've got that pressure on your shoulders and that slight lock up. Obviously, you've got to take that inside line going down into the chicane of the Hans Ernst box. And the problem with taking that inside line is obviously it's the less used line. It's a bit dirty out there, and it's so easy to lock that front right. We've seen that a couple of times this evening, and it's exactly what happened to Remy Gilbert then, and it left him slightly open. And like you say, going through Kumo at the penultimate turn, you've just got to give some kudos. Henry Moore hanging it around the outside, got it perfect on that run.
Yeah, it's unbelievably judged to perfection, I guess. You know, for Chadwick, so having his teammate there to push helps, whereas if maybe it was someone else, they would have maybe pushed Henry or pushed Remy, because Remy was sort of left out in his own. It's all, you know, there's just so many variables in this championship, but that was a solid race for Jaime as well, because obviously that was not only confirmed themselves, but put them in a good place in second place in the championship. TC Sports, we didn't really speak about them all race, to be honest. They were just on the back end of the top 10 there, both their cars. So yeah, things change around very quickly. But anyway, the final grid here at Zandvoort. It's been a great evening of racing, and I can't wait to see how we're going to get rid of this deadlock.
Yeah, indeed. They're surely not going to be leaving this round locked on points, our top two in the championship. It's almost time for me to take a deep breath and try and get through 31 cars in about 50-odd seconds as we get ready for the reverse grid race. 10 cars spun around on the field as we get ready to do racing for the penultimate reverse grid of the season. It'll be Connor Muir for the Aston Martin Aramco Esports team starting from pole position. Shomi Shintani from second, all looking for their first victory in this championship. Will Murdoch, Augustin Tolashi, Pablo Espes and Danny Moreno in sixth position. TC Sports needing some good points here in the fight for second of the title race. Matt Caruana for Jaime Sets by EMM, Remy Gilbert, joint championship leader, Will Chadwick and Henry Moore, the other joint championship leader, Beckham Jasir and Leo Brown in 12th position. The rest we're going to fly through quickly. It's Smith, Janae, Stone, Baldy, Kirkapau and Strabel. Behind all of that, it's Tague, then Di Pasquale, of course Herman, Matthews, Riley and Diana Perez. Final few rows of season, Sears Balderson, McAuliffe, Jupp, Elaine, Harding and Heron. The final row will see Hans Jakob Siversen Mola all by himself. We are in position and ready to go with Connor Muir and Shoma Shintani. Muir on the right hand side, Shintani on the left. Good starts already from those in the background. I think that was behind Moselle by EMM cars, already pulling straight over to the inside as they battle their way down to the first corner. Shoma Shintani getting aggressive, trying to take over the race lead and firing his way through into the race lead, leaving the first corner at Tarzan. Connor Muir dropped down into second position. Will Murdoch knocking at the door side by side in the background between Pablo Espes and Danny Moreno. As to the outside comes Matt Caruana in seventh position with Will Chadwick looking to the inside and Remy Gilbert. No major switches apart from Henry Moore dropping a single position backwards, but look at this side by side for second position between Will Murdoch and Connor Muir.
Round the outside goes Abyss. First competition driver should have second place stuck. He goes onto the gravel to hold it, but Muir's going to think about it. Have his nose up the inside in towards Masters. That's going to force Murdoch to go a bit wide, and the door opens up in towards turn number 9. The Aston Martin driver keeps his nose in there as he goes side by side in the background. Tolashi and Espes as we have a dive to the inside for Muir, but that's going to be into third place. Tolashi is getting squeezed out here by Espes just about, but he's going to have to draft down the back straight.
Yeah, from the side you might think these two are similarly linked teams just because of the shade of blue they use. They're definitely not, as Augustin Tolashi is trying to find his way straight back through on Pablo Espes. Fourth position they're fighting for into the Hans Ernst box. And of course, Matt Caruana not too far behind, looking to the outside, heading down to Kumo, the penultimate turn on the circuit, flicks it through the right-hander and then back out onto Ari Lyndike to complete the opening lap of the race. Shoma Shintani, who's had, relatively speaking, a disappointing season. We were expecting a lot from, I think, the highest I-rated driver on the field. Alas, it's not been a great season, but he can turn that all around in one result as battling happened behind.
Yeah, almost 4 wide for a moment as that's Gilbert having to defend. He's got Chadwick Moreno in behind, and also a huge send up the inside there from Jasir. This is all ahead of Henry Moore, by the way. So 3 drivers in between the 2 championship rivals. In the background, there's a load of gravel being flicked up. I have to see who that was a little bit later on, but they stay single file for now, working their way through. And that is Caruana going wide. He's going to have to fill back in. Chadwick, Gilbert are going to get through, and there might be further opportunities.
Yeah, certainly so. Here's the slipstream side by side between Jasir and Moreno, on board with Henry Moore, who will know a thing or two about being quite patient in races like this. We saw this in his run to the inaugural UK Formula Ford 1600 title back in 2023, where he took 15 consecutive podiums, of which most were victories. He was very patient in those reverse grid races, paced his way through perfectly, and I'm sure he'll be doing something similar here if he's able to do so. The only problem is there's a lot of cars between himself and Remy Gilbert, and he's not spotting the opportunity to come through. Needs to get past Danny Moreno now because he looks to the outside coming into the Hansen spot, but this is a risky move.
Certainly is. Gilbert's getting away through the pack. Moore needs to get a position done, and that is a lot of risk for the 77, but he's made it stick as well. And he's got his friend Leo Brown not too far behind to try and get involved. They can't lose this top back, though. They need to keep within about, half a second off all of the cars ahead. If the top, 5 or 6 get away, he has no chance of getting some big points today, as Gilbert is already in that pack and will keep up with them. So this is certainly a very important couple of laps now for Henry Moore.
This is advantage Gilbert, very much so at the moment. Pablo Espez sets the fastest lap. The final car in that top 4 using the slipstream of Conor Muir. Looks to the inside coming up towards turn 2. Drops back into the slipstream as they flick it into the right-hander and then into the left as they go through Hugenholtz and onto the S's section that takes us down into Sky Vlak. At the moment, it's Shintani leading by a quarter of a second over Will Murdoch, who for BS competition could be looking for another victory for the BS competition team. I think it's only one victory they have, wasn't it? Elias Riker, was it Riker at Silverstone last year?
Yes, that does sound about right. Definitely was Silverstone, and I'm pretty sure it was Riker. So a second place, I mean, even for them, that would be a great result. Let's see what Iggy Smith can do here at the back of Genet down at T9. Just shows you the chaos of the midfield. Look at all of the cars up ahead. You're trying to focus on your own braking points, and there's just all these moving. It's like a swarm of bees ahead of you. All the cars moving around and trying to find their own place on the track. It's certainly a very difficult championship, having so many cars out there on the grid. We go back towards the front. Shintani still leads, and the train of drivers in behind are all working their way forward. The only thing is, there's no control at the front. Last race, Benek had all the control at the front. We thought they weren't batting because of that, but now it's every man for themselves.
I think Iggy Smith, I can't remember if he's got it now, but he was talking to me about, he had obviously had some wheel problems last round at Knock Hill. I think he's either got a new wheel or he's getting a new wheel fairly soon, which moving from belt driven and such to direct drive can be a bit of a leap. If he's already got that, I can understand why he'd be struggling a little bit at the start, but eventually you do find it. I don't think he has got it yet, though. Do expect some good pace from Iggy Smith in the near future then, if that is the case, because that jump does tend to work quite positively for drivers. I mean, I've got myself a direct drive. I'm still dog water at sim racing, but it does help.
Yeah, obviously you need to have some talent out there as well, which can be,
yeah, I'm lacking on that.
Yeah, difficult for some. Let's put that politely. As we are seeing Chadwick now in 8th position, following his teammate. He's got Jasir Moore behind. They're chasing Gilbert down, but the thing for them is always Chadwick goes way wide there, wiggling all over the place. The issue for them is got so many drivers up ahead. It's not like they could just pick them off. If it was just Gilbert up ahead, I'm sure they would be driving this race a lot more differently. But there's 5 drivers even ahead of Gilbert. We're going side by side. So Lashi goes up the inside for Espez. This could be important points as he is ahead of the high moat setups drivers. He can't quite get the run on the exit though. Now Gilbert's having a run. We're almost 3 wide down in towards the chicane. Iggy Smith, Moore, I should say, defending from Espez and then Torlashi.
Yeah, got to be careful with that from Remy Gilbert. Of course, everything's slowing up. Looking to the inside of Augustin Torlashi. I'm sure not intending to go for a move, but things getting awkward regardless. And it is really difficult for Remy Gilbert to be in this position and try and maximise this. You're already a comfortable amount of points ahead of Henry Moore. You're already retaking over the championship lead. You're already starting to clear away from that. But you want more. You want to make next week as easy as possible as the battling happens up ahead between Conor Muir and Pablo Espez. Williams versus Aston Martin. Conor Muir to the outside in the 64. Inside line coming in from the Williams driver of Pablo Espez. Things looking very good in this race for Williams. You've got the Williams Academy driver and Shomi Shintani out front. You've got Pablo Espez once again there in 4th position. Beck and Jasir back in the top 10. Seth Williams were looking strong in race 1. They're looking strong again here in race 2.
Certainly are. This is opening up to be an amazing race. Let's see how this one ends. Muir on the inside has got 2 drivers to his outside. Espez is holding it all the way around. He's going to go wide though. That's surely going to give the momentum as Gilbert is going to come through to 4th place. Wow. This is terrible for Henry Moore in his standings as Torlashi is going to be diving up the inside to try and defend now from the cars that are coming in behind. First of all is Caruana, then Jasir, and also Chadwick is trying to make a move.
But Henry Moore was patient in the previous race. He was running in second for the entirety of it and still found his way through into victory. And all this could end in drama fairly soon as Pablo Espes has a slow run coming out of turn 10. Beckham Jasir coming through, as well as a couple of the high-mo sales by EMM cars. It's all getting a little bit messy in here. And where are they all going to filter their way out? Will Chadwick's gone out wide. Henry Moore's now knocking at the door to try and come through. Now sits on the outside, which will be the inside coming into Kumo. Will Chadwick is there, but Henry Moore is making the move in the corner where he was able to steal away victory just a few moments ago in race number 1. He's trying to find his way through and up the order into 9th.
Certainly is. This is going to be a very difficult position to hold on to as there's big slipstream in behind. 2 by 2 we go in towards the braking zone. Big set up the inside there from Henry Moore. Can he try and make it stick? If they bridge this gap, it could be very important for Moore's race. Leo Brown is now trying to come through on the outside. He's got Danny Moreno of TC Esports, who's not at the day that he would have wanted, trying to regain some of those points around the outside. Moreno's going to go. It should be a total. Oh, contact is made between the two. Where's Moreno? Oh, huge flip in the background with the Alpine cars going upside down.
That was a big one, certainly so. And it will make things, I think, what was it, Connor Chutt? There's a car still on its roof, sliding its, well, I don't even call it a roof, you know what I mean? It's upside down, sliding its way down the circuit. One thing that we'll say is that Henry Moore now doesn't have to look backwards because Leo Brown's about a second and a half off. The other thing is Remy Gilbert found a way up into yet another podium. The problem for him is just 1.3 seconds up to Will Murdoch, a gap I think he can close on those two, especially if they do battle. But I think it might be third is about as good as it's going to get for Remy Gilbert at the moment. Obviously still outscoring Henry Moore, but Moore is looming large.
Yeah, Moore's really struggling in this race, I'll tell you what. And oh, look at this. Oh, jet plane moment. And it was Kirkabau actually in the end who was going upside down. And that is really a sad way to end his day. As we stand, though, Gilbert will be 19 points ahead as we have quite a big points gap here with the point system that we have. 19 points it will be for Henry Moore to overcome in Brands Hatch. That is a big, big one. Look at the train of cars. Gilbert gets away as we're now seeing Conor Muir hold on from Tolashi on the outside. 2 by 2 we go. Tolashi tries to go all the way around the outside. This is going to be a difficult one to hold on as 3 wide goes up the inside of Caruana. That is brave.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit sketchy, and again, any drama here, it's all points that Henry Moore will pick up as they work into the hairpin sequence at Hugenholtz on board with Caruana. Tolashi there, Muir there, Espes and Jasir switching positions for the Williams Sim Racing team, and now opening up the opportunity is Will Chadwick. Henry Moore still sits at the rear end of this field, maybe not making enough risk here, but playing it patiently. Got to say for Henry Moore, if he can leave this round with a gap lower than 11 points, that would actually be an advantage compared to where he was coming into this round. The gap was 11 points coming into it, so he would have to see that as a relative win if he's able to leave the round with a gap shorter than 11 points to our title leader.
I guess so, but he's still going to be disappointed because it's one of those situations. If he didn't win the first race, if he took the second place, he probably would be better in this race and might actually be leading the championship. What a crazy championship we have here in the British F4 Esports, and that's why we love coming back here year after year. Once again, it is going to be going down to the wire at Brands Hatch, which is a tough enough track as it is just to go around, let alone being a championship decider, as we see in so many British series. As we have 9 minutes to go, we focus on Tolashi defending from Caruana. Muir's got away for now, but let's see if Tolashi's able to hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go, side by side at the moment. Caruana, Tolashi, Caruana to the outside. Cloud coverage coming over, circuit temperature dropping. Riding on board with Pablo Espes, switching it up to the inside of Matt Caruana. Not able to piece his way a move as they find another trip into the hairpin sequence. 8 minutes and 30 seconds left to go of this race. Time ticking away, not only for this race, but for the title as well. Remy Gilbert is in position to retake a comfortable championship lead with just 2 races left to go in West Kingsdown in Kent. We go racing at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit, where if there's one place where you need to be confident heading into qualifying, it would be Brands Hatch. That circuit is brutal when it comes to qualifying. Here you can kind of get away with it. There, absolutely not.
Yeah, indeed. This is the final real opportunity if you want to be making places in the race. We have a big train here, and this is Henry Moore's absolute worst nightmare of how a reverse grid race can go, because he's starting in the position that he started. Big set down the inside, huge lock up there from Caruana, almost opened up the door for one of the Williams drivers. That is Espes firstly in behind, and also his teammate Jasir as they work their way through the final corner now. Torlashi is losing time though to Conor Muir, so the top lot are away. So even if Henry Moore can get up somehow to the front of this crew, he's never getting up to Remy Gilbert. And let's see how he's going to be able to work this one. Torlashi's not going to hold on forever.
This is going to be extremely frustrating for Moore, because look, he's using a slipstream. He's sitting on the back of Will Chadwick, but obviously Chadwick's getting the slipstream from the train as well. There is nothing and no opportunity for Henry Moore to try and find a move in all of this. And whilst they're all battling, they're just slowing everything down. This is as frustrating as it gets, because you're seeing your championship rival walking away from this group. Spare a thought for what that must be like behind the wheel of a car. Seeing the championship slipping through your fingers, not really much you can do about it. Side by side up towards Sky Black between Will Chadwick and Beckham Jasir. There's an opportunity for Henry Moore to sneak his way through Sky Black. He's got the inside going into Masters, must make this move and complete it up into ninth. But of course, Will Chadwick is a feisty competitor and will be desperately trying to hang on, and he knows he can play a little bit of a risky game here, can Chadwick, because he knows Henry Moore is fighting for the title and cannot afford to lose any points in all of this.
This is such a frustrating situation for the 77 there. But what he's done is he actually has taken Chadwick off the back of the train. So there's some room there, some breathing room for him to try and get his car into. The issue is they're going to slow each other up, and Chadwick is basically going to catch right back up, and he will be within the slipstream with 6 minutes to go. It's about 4 laps remaining in this race, and not many more opportunities. We haven't spoken about them for a while, but Shintani Murdoch, they still lead 1 by 1 from Gilbert, from Moore, and then Caruana leading this train.
It's a big gap though between Murdoch and Gilbert, which will be the only positive that he can take for Henry Moore. There's a big look to the inside. Things may be starting to open up as everyone's getting a little bit more aggressive. Pablo Espes making the move there on Matt Caruana and nearly cleaning out the whole group in due process. As now into the Hugen Holtz once again is getting aggressive here. It's getting dicey. A bit of a move to the inside from Caruana, pushes Jasir out wide. Through comes Will Chadwick, through comes Henry Moore. Big slides coming in. This is high risk, it could be high reward.
Oh my word, this is so easy for one of these drivers to spin around right in front of him, and he's going to have nowhere to go. We're still up the inside of this is Jasir, who's right in front of us as he work our way up towards turn number 9, and that has calmed down. But for a second, that is actually what Henry Moore needed. He needed some battling, he needed some opportunities to come his way. If they stay single file, then nothing is really going to happen on that one. Up the inside goes Henry Moore. Oh, is there a bit of contact? Was that just Jasir going wide? I think there was some contact, so Moore's got to be careful. Doesn't want to risk any sort of major drama here, getting any sort of penalty that could exclude him from qualifying or something silly like that in Brands Hatch.
I don't believe there was any contact. I think it was just a bit of a moment from the Williams Sim Racing driver on the outside. So I think Henry Moore would be safe from that one, and any criticism that would come from that. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go, 3 laps left to go in this second race of the evening. Just 2 races left to go in the hunt for the 2025 title. Henry Moore now stares at the back of Will Chadwick, who he was able just to sit ahead of on the run towards the line. Didn't fancy a move there down to the Tarzan, maybe wanting, I don't know why he wouldn't actually go for anything there. I think he lifted, did he not?
Yeah, definitely lifted. Heard that on the engine revs just starting to drop. So definitely didn't want to go for that one. I'm not sure either. It's at that time of the race, about 3 laps to go. You've got to be making these moves. Yeah. And this is now starting to run out of time. Tolashi's doing such a good job actually to try and defend from this what is now P6. He's let Muir and Gilbert, I think it was, go through at some points, but now he's holding on very nicely indeed. But Espes has not given up on that opportunity. Caruana thought he had the move done a couple of laps ago, but it's all swapped around once more. Tolashi doing well to try and keep his hopes of second place in the Constructors' Championship alive.
And Moore's heart might be sinking a little bit. 1.2 seconds between Remy Gilbert and Will Murdoch. The gap's closing down in advantage for Remy Gilbert. Could he have a chance at sneaking a 3rd victory of his 2025 title campaign? At the moment, Gilbert isn't close enough, but with 2 laps left to go at the line, the opportunity isn't a million miles away.
Definitely not. And this is crunch time. 3 minutes to go at Zandvoort. Just 2 more races after this in the championship. We've got constructors' positions on the line. It's TC Sports versus Hymo by in for second place in the constructors. We've got the drivers' championship, Gilbert and Moore, but they're separated by 6 cars. It is going to be all change in the championship after this race. That is for sure. Could be all change in towards turn number 1. Shintani holds on, but in the background, Torlashi defends. He holds that inside line. Espes to the outside. He's now got to look up his inside because Caruana is pushing his way through.
He certainly is, and that side-by-side will go back to single file. You're absolutely right on how much this battle. I was concerned about there was a lap car coming out of pit lane. Then obviously we've got a whole host of retirements from this race, and I was concerned the lap car might get involved in all this. Thankfully, it comes out behind and even waits for a few others to work their way past. As back on board with Caruana. There's a look to the outside from Pablo Espes. Caruana trying to slot the door, going through Sky Black. 1 minute and 55 seconds left to go. We're on the penultimate lap of the race and we're about halfway round it. We go through turn 9, or rather turn 8 at Masters, into turn 9 now. Turn 10 next, big overtaking opportunity if you're brave enough. That's where Henry Moore was able to find his way through a lap ago. A lap or so ago on Beckham Jasiru. He's dropped back behind and all that. Oh, wow, Henry Moore's gone down to 10th again.
Yeah, he should have gone for that move on Chadwick, but he didn't. And now this is a difficult time. He's just going to have to accept that he's going to lose points. But any final point that he could get here is going to be crucial for his championship, because it is going to be, if it's like this, it is going to be 19 points the difference, which means that even if he wins the race, Gilbert is going to have to be way off the podium for that point to swap around. We come on to the final lap. Shintani leads. Murdoch is going to the outside. This will be both their first and best results in this championship, but Shintani holds on. That is a crucial defensive maneuver.
Shintani, runner-up in the 2024 UK Formula Ford 1600 Championship to Mark Fletcher, taking part in this championship, searching for his first victory. More battling happening here in this fight for 5th position. It sees Torlashi, Espes, Caruana, Jasir, Chadwick and Moore all in battle. Back to the fight at the front. Will Murdoch searching for a victory, searching for a pathway around Shintani, who cuts across the nose as they flick into the right-hander at Sky Black.
Oh my word, that bump has almost caused so many incidents today, but they've got away with it once more. We're side by side in the background as well. Torlashi loses the place to Espes, who jumps his way through into 5th position. There's moves all over the place in the background. Will Murdoch for the lead though. He's got one final proper opportunity down towards the stadium section. Does he want to get BS Competition's second victory in this championship?
Beckham Jasir and Caruana switching positions there at the top end of your screen. Out wide a little bit. Could there be an opportunity for Henry Moore, but he's getting boxed in by the Hymo setters by EMM crew. Chadwick and Caruana not allowing the opportunity for Moore to find his way through. Bit of a lock-up coming in then from Will Chadwick as well up ahead, and Henry Moore will find his way through into 9th position to cut the points deficit down to his teammate by just a little bit, but the work is going to be happening between them. Back up towards the front though, Shomi Shintani is going to be leading up towards the line, but will he hold on to it? A drag race between them. Shintani with the advantage, and you can see the celebrations. Shomi Shintani for the first time in British Formula 4 Esports is a winner as he crosses the line ahead of Murdoch and Gilbert. Gilbert continuing the podium streak, 11 podiums from 14 races. Simply incredible for our championship leader. The consistency is unreal.
That is just unbeatable. You cannot, you just can't battle with someone who has the ability to do that. He ran such a good race. Henry Moore, finish race started P10 to P10, but Gilbert from P8 it would have been up into P3. What a important race for his championship. He is going to have the lead by some 19 points, and that, to be honest, is going to be a lot to overcome.
We'll take a look at the provisional race results, of course, from round number 14 of the championship. 2 races left to go. Shomi Shintani for the Williamson Racing Academy steals his first victory away from Will Murdoch. Remy Gilbert back onto the podium once again. We'll chat to those 3 in a few moments' time. Conor Muir in 4th position with Pablo Espes in 5th, and that big train in the fight for 5th position has Espes, Torlashi, Jasir, Chadwick, Caruana and Moore, with Torlashi setting the fastest lap in all of that towards the back end of the top 10 as well. Outside of it, it's Leo Brown in 11th with Iggy Smith in 12th, Charles Genet in 13th. Gogo Bowdy, Ollie Stone, back-to-back 15th place finishes. Diana Perez and Anna Maria Di Pasquale in 16th and 17th for the Rock Red Bull Racing Esports team cars. Izzy Matthews, Connor Jupp and Danny Moreno. Jupp out of the race, Moreno out of the race, so disappointment for TC Esports and all of that, and their fight for second in the Constructors or in the Teams Championship. Other retirements from the race, big list here, deep breath needed. Kirkapau, Elaine, McAuliffe, Tague, Osbaldeston, Heron, Strabel, Harding, Riley, Herman, and of course the final retirement on the grid being Hans Jakob Sivertsen Mollart. So a lot of disappointment for some drivers and a lot of excitement for others after what has been an incredible race. We'll take a deep breath and we'll catch up with Shoma Shintani, who joins us here in the interview. We interviewed you quite a few times last year on your run to second in the UK Formula Ford 1600s. But a first interview here for British Formula 4 Esports and a first victory as well after an incredible drive. Saw your excitement up towards the line. How does it feel to finally win in this championship?
Yeah, I mean, I had not ideal races after the opening round of this series. So yeah, it's race to win. So it's not 100% victory by my pace, but still happy with the podium and the first win.
How would you rate this season? Obviously, coming into it, we were expecting quite a lot from you after a brilliant run in the obviously 2024 in the UK Formula Ford 1600s. I'm sure you were expecting to come into here and fight fairly consistently towards the front. But obviously, it's been a tough championship. How do you rate this season going for you?
As you said in last round, opening round was good. That I was expecting, but yeah, I mean, I don't think my pace is not okay. Just I was inconsistent and some bad rocks. So yeah, I was frustrating that my speed weren't affected my results. So but yeah, finally it paid off.
It certainly has. An excellent victory for you after 14 races in the championship. Shoma, great to hear from you again in the commentary booth, and maybe this is what opens the floodgates to maybe even more at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Shoma Shintani onto the top step of the podium. Great to hear from Shoma. We'll drag in Will Murdoch now, who, of course, managed to sneak away a second position. Will, BS competition. Great to hear from you. Onto the podium for the first time this season. What do you make of that race? You couldn't quite find your way past Shoma Shintani in a thrilling battle there late on in the race.
Yeah, it was probably pretty boring at the front for you guys watching. I think there might have been some mild chaos going on behind me, but honestly, I was driving very hard just to stay with Shoma. I knew I didn't have the pace, and I didn't really want to make a 2-car battle, a 10-car battle or 11-car battle. It just makes unnecessary work for me and Shoma, so I was quite happy just sitting behind him. I know how fast he is, and you know, this season's been pretty chaotic from my end, just getting caught up in other people's incidents, you know, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I'm glad that we could at least get some very good points this evening.
Yeah, your first double top 10 of this championship campaign. Obviously, you joined us about halfway through last season at Alton Park, and obviously missed out then on Zandvoort earlier on last season. So it's a circuit where some of the drivers on the grid have a little bit more experience in this car around this circuit than you. Did you find that was the case, or did it not really kind of matter at this sort of level?
I found the track quite easy to learn compared to some of the others, and once you figure out qualifying, as long as you're sort of within the top 12 or so, I feel like you're sort of in a position where you can make something of your racing. I think if you're any further back, you've got too much work to do to get to the front. I think with the nature of the track as well, it's very slipstream based. I think we saw that in the first race. I think if you took away some of the incidents in front of me, you know, you're looking at a 12-car battle for the win there, but it only ended up being 8 cars. So I feel like it was quite an easy track to learn. Obviously, it comes up in other series as well, so I kind of knew it from there. But yeah, I'm really happy with my pace, to be honest, and just happy to stay out of trouble.
It's been an incredible performance and a great drive to your first podium in British Formula 4 Esports. Hopefully, we'll see you back on the podium at some point at Brands Hatch. See you then, Will.
Lovely, thank you very much.
There we go. Will Murdoch from driver who's finished on a podium for the first time. Well, it's time to catch up with a driver who's finished on the podium a whole host of times now. One podium away from going to #1 on the all-time winners, all-time podium sitters list with Luke. You know me. I like myself some stats. One big stat that you'll most certainly like is the championship lead. It now sits at 19 points. An incredible drive through the field there. I mean, how do you keep doing it? You keep finding yourself on podiums this season. That is an 11th one. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think towards the start of that race, I picked all the right spaces, made my way through. I didn't quite have the pace to catch the leaders, but yeah, I mean, P3 from 8th is pretty good job, and hopefully we can just carry this into the next round.
I'm sure we'll be talking about this ad noise. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves when it comes to the title race, because obviously I'm sure your heart will be set on focusing on Brands Hatch when it comes to that. But let's just talk about you as a driver and these podiums and the victory stuff that we've seen this season, the drives that we've seen from you this season. There is it's one of the things that I like watching, looking at your career in British Formula 4 Esports over obviously back in 2023, and obviously you were a consistent sort of top 10 runner. 2024 you kind of started sneaking your way onto the podium a fair few times, obviously the victory, and now it's just a consistent podium. What is that kind of progression like as a driver, because the field is incredibly strong here, and it seems every year it's at least as strong as the last?
Yeah, I think from the first season I've learned a lot. I think the first couple of years I was very aggressive, maybe like not picking the right moves and stuff like that. And I think for this year I've sort of settled down and been a bit more conservative with my driving. I think that's helped a lot over the course of the season and brought me like some more consistent results.
It's been incredible to watch this career unfold. It'll be incredible watching you fight for the championship along with your teammate in just a week's time at Brands Hatch. Best of luck and put on a good show.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening.
Remy Gilbert, superb to hear. Cam, what an epic penultimate round of the season. What's your final roundup from that? Because it's incredible, and we are building up to a serious finale here.
We certainly are. Gilbert's having the season of a lifetime. I mean, if you look back at the first round back at Donington Park, Henry Moore went 1st and 3rd. Gilbert went 6th and 7th. We weren't even really considering, Remy at that point. Then the next round, Gilbert doesn't get a win, Moore wins. The third round, Moore wins again, but Gilbert doesn't. By this point, you're 3 rounds in. You're not really thinking about him for the championship as such, because he can't get that win. It took him until Silverstone race 2 to get his first win of the season, and now he leads by 19 points, just showing you that consistency is the way to go in this championship.
One final round then left to go as we did battle here at Zandvoort, and battling that was absolutely incredible. The team's championship is settled. Team Benek are our team's champions of 2025, but the battle for second in the team's race rages on, and the battle for the 2025 Drivers' Championship will come to its thrilling conclusion in just a single week's time when we go battling at West Kingsdown. For myself, Lewis McGlade, from Cameron Roger, and of course the big shout out to Hugo Luis behind the scenes bringing us the broadcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in just a week.